Perfect.
Good afternoon. Hello, Cherise. We meet again.
Perfect.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the channel. I am Demetra Lit All Day of the Demetra Lit All Day channel, and we are in here now, tuned in to another new feature over here on Seymour Lane. Hey, Cherise, thank you for joining and supporting. Hey, Angel Fool, good to see you. Thank you for coming through and supporting. What's up, CC? You listening while you're getting ready for work. Have an excellent work shift, right? An excellent day, everybody. It's halfway through, and it's a good day for me so far. Nothing brings about focus and purpose than having a monkey wrench thrown into things, right? But you can look at it one or two ways. You can be excited and get busy, or you can sit on a pity pot, which never, it's just uncomfortable. I choose to get excited and repurpose and get recommitted. So that just entails like a lot of different getting back to the basics, right? And it can be exciting. I'm excited. So today I want to start another segment. We did it over on Lit Lane in the pit crew. Y'all know I am very much so into true crime, and I'm talking about true crime from every phase, right? I'm into true crime, into the news reporting when things just happen and talking about it, on my think tanks. Let's think about this. What happened? Why did it happen? How do we prevent these things from happening? I'm into the trial watches, watching the trials go through, putting myself in a position of what would I do? What do I think? Right? Then I'm also interested in, y'all been seeing more recently. I'm very much so interested in the what is it called? The rehabilitation part, right? With my Free 'em or Keep 'em series, where we look at the board of pardons and parole and hash those things out. So I am bringing a new trial. I want to give some back story information on it. The trial just ended there in Grand Rapids, Michigan, last week. If you find that you know this trial, you saw this trial, you know what happened at the end, please, no spoilers, okay? Because we're going to look at it and look at this trial, look at what happened. And at the end of the day, ultimately, what do we decide? Kind of like Free 'em or Keep 'em, but it's before, this is now the judicial phase of it, okay? So let me show you. Of course, please like the video, and subscribe and share to whoever you think might like this type of content. So let's go to what happened. Okay, let's go to what happened. I'm going to read it. I have the news video clips, but I'm going to read the story so that we can get an idea of what happened, and then we're going to put the faces to it in the background. Okay. So this was back in 2022. It says new details describe murder of Grand Rapids mom suspect charge. Maya Kelly was shot and killed on the southwest side of Grand Rapids on Monday. Keyante Newbern was in court for 4 felony charges, including open murder. Okay, so it said court documents showing the night of December 26th, the day after Christmas, y'all. Maya Kelly heard a knock at the door of her southwest side home. When she opened the door's covered peephole, she was shot. and killed. Grand Rapids police say Kenyatta Newbern is their suspect. But how did investigators come to that conclusion? They used surveillance video from 3 separate locations and witness descriptions. Seconds after the shooting, someone working on their car saw a man wearing a white and gray jacket running away from the shooting scene. Police used that information for a suspect description. That night, investigators pulled security footage from a gas station near Hall Street showing the suspect running past the security camera. 3 minutes later, a Dodge Journey believed to be the getaway car can also be seen passing by the camera. Using a vehicle description, the Grand Rapids GRPD, the Grand Rapids Police Department, took the suspected driver of the Dodge Journey into custody. Footage from a car repair shop on South Division Avenue shows the Journey in the parking lot moments before the shooting. Just after, the suspect in the white and gray jacket can be seen entering the passenger side door of the Journey before taking off. I wonder what somebody driving. We'll find out. Later, investigators were led to a local grocery store where surveillance video from earlier in the day showed who they believe is Newbern and the suspect. No, and the suspected driver. Okay, so he had a driver. Okay, driver walking around inside. The court docket states that Newbern was wearing the same jacket in the store as the night of the shooting. Investigators were able to identify Newbern, who has a criminal record, from inmate photos and his Secretary of State photo. So this ain't his first rodeo. Okay. So let me keep reading. On January 11th, the police used search warrants for 3 addresses to find and arrest Newbern, 2 in Grand Rapids and 1 in Lansing. While police found Newbern at the Lansing address during the search of a Grand Rapids address, they found a winter hat with the word Michigan on it that was worn while he was at the convenience store, and a gun laser sight with a blue beam. Dang. During questioning, Newbern denied being at the shooting scene. Instead, he said he was recording a rap video and was taken there by the suspected driver. The driver told police he dropped Newbern off near Kelly's home after the rap video was finished. Oh, shoot. So according to this story, and this is a story from when it initially happened, right? Already that quickly, the getaway driver, apparently ratted out the suspect. Newbern said that he was making a rap video. The driver of the getaway car say, yeah, he might have made that video, but he dropped him off by that house. That's interesting. Investigators did see a part of a rap video, and in it, Newbern was again wearing the same white and gray jacket from that night. They say he was also holding the black handgun with the blue beam laser that was recovered in Lansing. Police believed it to be a 9mm gun. The Michigan State Police Lab confirmed the bullet found at the scene displayed markings from a Glock, the same type of weapon that was given to Newbern months prior to the shooting by the suspected driver. Golly. Investigators have not said what may have led to the shooting. Newbern is facing 4 felony charges, including murder, concealed weapon, firearm possession by a felon, and weapons felony firearm. He was arraigned earlier this afternoon and is scheduled to be back in court February 15th. Now, again, this is like one of the foundation articles when this incident first happened, when this crime first happened. This was published February 6, 2023. Hey, Sweet Merciful J, thank you for joining. So I kind of wanted to read it before we just get the what I'm going to say, how you say it, the compressed version, the short version, the cliff notes from the news reports. But let's put a face and faces to this crime. Okay, let's get an idea of what exactly. I have it right here. Let's look at some of the news reports. Again, this is trial and jury. I want to, if you're into this type of content, I want to suggest that you try to
You
make
can
it.
just click
To
a
do it
button
in
in
the
the script
afternoon
and get
around
the
this same
same
time.
exact
Try to
effect.
make it
So I have my project
to
here,
each of
and
the
as you can
lives, so you
This
can
morning, a
follow
man
the trial,
accused
so you can make
of shooting and killing a Grand Rapids woman in front of her children one day after Christmas is expected back in the courtroom.
29-year-old Keyante Newbern faces 4 charges in total, including murder for the death of 23-year-old Maya Kelly. 13 on your side, Trevier Gonzalez joins us live from the newsroom this morning. And Trevier, you'll be in court later this morning. What are we expecting?
Yeah, good morning. This will be a preliminary examination, so it's likely police testimony will be given and provide some more insight on Kelly's murder. In the end, a district judge will have to determine if there is enough evidence to move forward. Now, Maya Kelly was killed last year on the night of December 26th, as you said, just one day after Christmas. It happened at a home in Canton Street on the city's southeast side. Now, according to a probable cause document, Newbern fired multiple gunshots through the front door of the home, those bullets killing Kelly while her 2 children were in the living room. Detectives with the Grand Rapids Police Department say the gun used in that crime was featured in a rap video that was made by Newbern just hours before the shooting. Now, GRPD Chief Eric Winstrom called the killing a truly heinous act. But multiple surveillance cameras are also said to have helped track down Newbern. It's possible that this footage could be used and presented during the hearing. Now, Newbern himself remains in jail on a $175,000 bond. In the newsroom, Trevor Gonzalez, 13 on your side.
A Grand Rapids mother was shot and killed at her home the day after Christmas. And tonight, a man is charged. Security cam videos and several Grand Rapids area businesses are key evidence that led to the arrest of 29-year-old Keyante Newbern. 13 on your side, Micah Cho is here with details on how it all came together for Grand Rapids Police. Micah.
Juliet, everything from surveillance video to a rap video filmed on the same day of the shooting of Maya Kelly, showing Newbern holding the same type of gun, a 9mm that was used in her death.
According to court documents, Maya Kelly heard a knock on her door the night after Christmas. When she opened her covered peephole, she was shot and killed. Grand Rapids police say Keyante Newbern is the shooter. But how did they come to that conclusion? Witness descriptions and surveillance video from multiple locations. Seconds after the shooting, a man working on a car saw a man wearing a white and gray jacket running from the scene. That information helped create a suspect description. Footage from a car repair shop on South Division shows a Dodge Journey in the parking lot before the shooting. Just after the shooting, the suspect in the white and gray jacket can be seen getting into the passenger side of the Journey before it takes off. A few minutes later, security camera footage from a gas station on Hall Street shows the Journey pass by. Grand Rapids police arrested the driver of that car. Later, officers found surveillance video from a nearby grocery store that shows a man they believe is Newbern and the suspected driver walking around inside. Newbern investigators were able to Newbern, who was a criminal record, from inmate photos and the Secretary of State photo. On January 11th, search warrants were executed on 3 addresses, 2 in Grand Rapids and 1 in Lansing. And that led to Newbern's arrest. He was found at the Lansing address with the word Michigan on it that was worn at the convenience store and a gun laser sight with a blue beam. Newbern denied being at the shooting scene. Instead, he said he was recording a rap video. The suspected getaway driver told police after the see part of that rap video, they say Newbern was wearing the same white and gray jacket from that night. And he was also holding a black handgun with a blue
not the
beam
smartest,
laser.
right?
Police believed it to be a 9mm handgun. The Michigan State Police lab confirmed a bullet found at the scene displayed markings from a Glock, the same type of weapon that was given to Newbern months prior to the shooting by the suspected driver.
Newbern is facing 4 felony charges, including murder, open murder, carrying concealed firearm, possession by a felon, and weapons felony firearm. He was arraigned earlier this afternoon. He is scheduled to be back in court February 15th.
Okay, so now we have the background information, right? Hey, Crafts, thank you for joining. Good afternoon. So now we got the backup information. We know, when the crime happened, who it happened to, but let's put it like a more humanistic touch to it and find out about the victim. She was very young, 23 years
If you want to eat
old.
healthy and
If I'm
feel your
not
best,
mistaken, mother
you've
of
got to
two.
try
I got to
Kachava.
get my new,
Kachava is the
I got
world's
to get this
healthiest.
channel premium.
Deadly shooting in Grand Rapids leaves one family now searching for answers this holiday season. The shooting happened Monday night on the city's southwest side. We'll say.
I spoke with Shanice Kelly, who told News 8 that her sister, Maya Kelly, who police have yet to confirm, lost her life and leaves behind 2 young children.
A day after Christmas, the Kelly
Look how
family
young.
finds themselves in mourning. A fatal shooting happened Monday night around 10 o'clock. Grand Rapids police, a twin was shot and killed inside a home. The sister of Maya Kelly told me the holiday season won't be the same.
Not good. It's just sad and depressing.
Kelly tells us Maya leaves behind 2 small children and reminisced about her younger sister.
We was very close when we was like little kids. She liked to dance. She liked to dance. She liked to sing. She liked to do hair. She liked to do all that.
It's still early in the investigation, but the family, mostly from Chicago and Grand Rapids, is searching for answers.
She was the best woman ever. A strong Black woman. Beautiful.
And hoping someone comes forward with information about the young mother of 2 who was loved by many.
We love you, Maya, forever.
Grand Rapids police are still looking for a suspect. If you have any information in the shooting, you're asked to report it to the Grand Rapids Police Department or Silent Observer. Reporting live in Grand Rapids, Amanda Porter, News 8.
Okay, so we get a chance to hear from the family. That's when it was all very, very fresh. Her sister sound young too, right? So I'm real curious to know, because I don't know. I want to know why, he came to the house. Well, why they allege that he came to the house, why he brought a laser gun and shot her through the door, allegedly, right? Because I'm watching the trial. I'm going to watch the trial and find out what happened. And throughout the time of watching the trial, I'm actually being like a member of the jury. I like to put myself in situations to see what would I do. What's my thoughts? Y'all gonna see. I say that all the time. I say that all the time because that's what I actually like to do, right? So we on jury duty. If you let me know in the comments or during this live, please participate if you can. I do understand it's during the work hours. This is the type of content that you can really listen to unfold and really be productive through your day. Right? Hey, Winter. So let's go ahead and get started for the first day of the trial. Let me get this geared up here. And the trial just ended last Friday, I do believe. If you know about this trial and you know what happened, please don't say anything. I kind of want to walk this through. We'll do like 2 hours each day. Unless we can't just tear ourselves away, but I'll be coming on around 1 p.m. Central Standard Time with the trial watch. Thank y'all for supporting. Let's get this trial started here. Let's see. Let me share. Let's get it, right? Y'all are the jury. Right. Wonder if it's random. Did he get to go to the wrong house? What happened? Let me take this down. Let me rewind it a little bit because I didn't have. This is the jury order. So this is what you're supposed to do in the jury.
As well as circumstantial evidence. Okay, looks like everyone has a copy. I do need to read this into the record. A person accused of a crime is presumed to be innocent. This means that he must start with the presumption that the defendant is innocent. This presumption continues throughout the trial and entitles the defendant to a verdict of not guilty unless you are satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that he is guilty. Every crime is made of parts called elements. The prosecutor must prove each element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. The defendant is not required to prove his innocence or to do anything. If you find that the prosecutor is not proven every element beyond a reasonable doubt, then you must find the defendant not guilty. A reasonable doubt is a fair, honest doubt growing out of the evidence or lack of evidence. It's not merely an imaginary possible doubt, but a doubt based on reason and common sense. A reasonable doubt is just that, a doubt that is reasonable after a careful considered examination of the facts and circumstances of this case. Count 1, first-degree premeditated murder. The defendant is charged with the crime of first-degree premeditated murder. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant caused the death of Maya Kelly, that is, that Maya Kelly died as a result of the defendant shooting her with a firearm. Second, that the defendant intended to kill Maya Kelly. Third, that this intent to kill was premeditated, that is, thought out beforehand. Fourth, that the killing was deliberate, which means that the defendant considered the pros and cons of the killing and thought about and chose his actions before he did it. There must have been a real and substantial reflection for long enough to give a reasonable person a chance to think twice about the intent to kill. The law does not say how much time is needed. It is up for you to decide if enough time passed under the circumstances of this case. The killing cannot be the result of a sudden impulse without thought or reflection. Fifth, that the killing was not justified, excused, or done under circumstances that reduce it to a lesser crime. Next, second-degree murder. You may also consider the lesser charge of second-degree murder. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay, so I guess what he's saying, but the count 1 was the premeditated murder, right? He's reading so fast, so I'm wondering, is this count 2 when he's talking about that, the not non-pre, whatever he just said? You know, is this the second count? He reading so doggone fast.
First, the defendant caused the death of Maya Kelly, that is, that Maya Kelly died as a result of the defendant shooting her with a firearm. Second, that the defendant had one of these two states of mind. He intended to kill, or he intended to do great bodily harm to Maya Kelly, or he knowingly created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, knowing that death or such harm would be the likely result of his actions. Next count 2, carrying a concealed weapon. And I want to make sure we're clear about this. Count 2 is carrying a concealed weapon, but there's two theories here. One is on his person, and one is in a vehicle. That's why there's a handle there. Okay. Next, count 2, carrying a concealed weapon. First, on person. The defendant is charged with a crime.
Okay, this count 2.
Carrying a concealed pistol. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant knowingly carried a pistol. It does not matter whether the defendant was carrying the pistol. Let me read it again. I apologize. Once you start reading a lot, you start making mistakes. So anyway, let's go through the elements again. First, that the defendant knowingly carried a pistol. It does not matter why the defendant was carrying a pistol, but to be guilty of this crime, the defendant must have known that he was carrying a pistol. Second, that this pistol was concealed on or about the person of the defendant.
How can you not know you're carrying a pistol?
The pistol is concealed if it cannot easily be seen by those who come into ordinary contact with the defendant. And then the second theory of carrying a concealed weapon would be within a vehicle. The defendant is charged with the crime of carrying a pistol in a vehicle. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that a pistol was in a vehicle that the defendant was in. Second, that the defendant knew the pistol was there. Third, that the defendant took part in carrying or keeping the pistol in the vehicle. That's count 3, possession of a firearm. The defendant is charged with the crime of possession of a firearm when he was ineligible to do so. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant knowingly possessed or used a firearm in the state. Second, at that time, the defendant was ineligible to possess a firearm. The defendant stipulates that he was ineligible to possess a firearm at the time of these alleged events. Next, count 4, felony firearm. The defendant is also charged with the separate crime of possessing a firearm at the time he committed the crime of murder. charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant committed the crime of murder, which has been defined for you. It is not necessary, however, that the defendant be convicted of that crime. Second, that at the time the defendant committed the crime, he knowingly carried or possessed a firearm. It does not matter whether or not the firearm was capable of firing a projectile or whether it was loaded. A pistol is a firearm. Finally, circumstantial evidence. Facts can be proved by direct evidence from a witness or an exhibit. Direct evidence is evidence about what we actually see or hear. For example, you look outside and see rain falling, that is direct evidence that it is raining. Facts can also be proved by indirect and circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is evidence that normally or reasonably leads to other facts. So, for example, if you see a person come in from outside wearing a raincoat covered with small drops of water, that would be circumstantial evidence that it is raining. You may consider circumstantial.
That's a good example.
By itself or combination.
Now, that's a good example of factual, whatever it said, factual evidence. You know that we have evidence. You look outside, you see the rain yourself. Circumstantial evidence, somebody come in with, and so you conclude that it's raining outside. That's circumstantial. You know, I like the way you get that example. Anywho.
Indirect evidence can be used elements of a crime. In other words, you should consider all the evidence that you believe. You may refer to these instructions during the trial, since no one can predict the course of the trial. These instructions may change at the end of the trial. I'm giving these instructions only for you to use as a guide during the course of the trial. Do not place any more emphasis on these instructions than the ones I give you orally during the course of the trial. You'll notice that we do not have an actual court reporter. We have an electronic courtroom. That means all of the witnesses are being recorded to a DVD. Please listen carefully to the witnesses. You will not automatically be given a transcript of any witness's testimony. To get a transcript can sometimes take hours or days. You absolutely need to rehear the testimony of a witness. Then we will probably make arrangements to play the witness's entire testimony back for you. So please listen carefully. All right. At this point, opening statements, Mr. Baker, you can handle this aspect.
Okay, before we get into opening statements, right? So this in the same city and everything. They do the jury selection. So I've been wondering if after I hear that jury charge, you know, I just showed y'all the background. So we know it's a 23-year-old woman. We know she had kids, right? We know already that they got some type of evidence that they're going to put forth. We've seen the news reporting. We know the cameras and things like that. Am I able to set aside what I think I know? Am I able to set aside my bias? Am I able to have an open mind and truly just come in as a member of the jury and listen to everything with an open mind in order to make my decision? You know, I think I gotta learn how to be more open-minded and not so prejudged. That's why I just find this stuff fascinating. So we're finna start with opening statements. This is day one.
Is there a way to dim with the court's permission, could I dim the?
Yeah, we can sit here in the dark. I mean, it's pretty dark in here. Is that good for you? Can you do that?
Can everybody see the screen?
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Over what Ms. Corbett and I believe the evidence in this case is going to show. All right. The incident that brings us to court this week occurred a few miles south of here between Ionia and Division, just north of Hall Street.
Oh, good. They show the exhibits on in his court.
On Monday, the day after Christmas, December 26th, 2022, at about 9:50 p.m., a horrific and cowardly crime was committed in a matter of moments at the residence shown in the upper left there, 47 Canton Street. It's the first residence to the east of Ionia, and then basically a full city block toward Division. 47 Canton Street is a duplex, and the westerly apartment is 47. In the same building to the right, to the east, is 43 Canton.
Okay, we're gonna stop right here. I'm gonna try to, definitely address the comments. Lady Steph says, "I'm sorry, Demetria. No problem. I'm in and out, but trying to keep up. Folks bothering me. That's what they do, child. Do we know what his reason was for committing the crime? No, we don't know. And right now, Lady Steph, it's an alleged crime, right? It's an alleged crime. We don't know, even though the state's saying it's him. They we gotta wait as the jury. We gotta wait and find out and really hash it out and see if they can prove their case. So no, this is just the opening statements, and really, that he just been accused of the crime. Okay.
Front of the house. 47 Canton again is the door to the left. So on this night at 9:50 p.m., the evidence is going to show that the defendant approached the house and fired several shots into the door, one of which struck and killed victim Maya Kelly. She was shot in the head through that door of her own apartment. You will learn from her boyfriend, Omar Dana, who will be testifying this morning, that he and Maya and their two kids, their two young.
Hey, if you live in one of these cities right here, why don't you own an apartment building?
Sorry about the
Seriously, let me show
commercial,
you
y'all.
a
I gotta
path that
reset
can absolutely
my
change your
restart
life
my
and unlock.
YouTube Premium. I'll have that by tomorrow.
At night to watch a movie when there was a knock at the door. The evidence is going to show that that was the defendant that was knocking at the door. Some mumbled words were stated, and then shots rang out through the door. Omar is going to tell you that he did not see the defendant shoot. The next door neighbors, the Atkinsons, you're going to hear from them this morning. They also did not look outside. They heard 3 to 4 shots, and by the time they looked outside, the defendant had already made his escape. So there is no eyewitness to the defendant shooting these rounds. The evidence is going to be shown that the identity of the defendant as the perpetrator occurred over the hours, days, and weeks of the police investigation. Police arrived within approximately 10 minutes after the shooting. Omar calls the police. When the shooting rang out, he acted to protect his kids and did not look outside, did not see the shooter. When the police arrive, you're going to see the first responding officer, Officer Middleton. You're going to see a portion of his body-worn camera. Grand Rapids Police have a camera affixed to the center of their chest, and you're going to watch a portion of that as the first responder to the scene. There's a medical response. There's a huge police response, including crime scene technicians that come and process the scene. You're going to hear from the crime scene technician that process the scene for evidence. So without an eyewitness to the actual shooter, police begin a canvass of the area. They go door to door and they're looking for witnesses that heard or saw anything, and they're looking for cameras. The cameras on Canton Street, there were 2 directly on Canton that provided extremely valuable evidence. The first one, 5 houses down from 47 Canton Street at 23 Canton, heading east about midway through the block. On the north side, also 23 Canton, there is a surveillance camera that was affixed to the front of the residence. You'll learn that when police obtained that video evidence, they observed a lone figure running from the area of 47 Canton east toward Division Avenue. The next camera that was discovered by police is at Luna Auto at the southwest corner of Canton and Division. And that camera faces to the north, and it picked up that same figure in a much clearer image. It's a good camera angle from some distance. But that figure, who the evidence will prove beyond any reasonable doubt was the defendant, is running to a car that is waiting that is backed into an empty spot at Luna Auto. You'll see on video, the person that the evidence will show is the defendant running and getting into the passenger door of that car. The car.
Okay, so let me stop right here. I find it real interesting. Like I put in the comments that the house is a duplex, right? You know, a duplex is has the two homes, the two family home divided. You know, that make me think, dang, was that the wrong door? Did he go to the wrong house? Did he get the wrong victim? Right? And then on this picture they showing right here, the proximity, that show is, I don't know. Maybe it's the picture, I don't know the distance, right? But that show is a long way to be running to the getaway car. From the picture, that looked like a long way. But maybe I'm mistaken. It just seemed kind of like, I don't know. But we're gonna keep watching. I'm glad they showing the exhibits.
Drives south on Division, down to Hall and Division, 1 block south. And then the Sunoco camera, which also has audio, picks up the defendant, the vehicle the defendant is in, turning from Division westbound on Hall Street. This vehicle is very distinctive. It is a silver Dodge Journey with extensive damage to the right, or to the driver's side door near the front wheel. And on the passenger side, there's very distinctive damage on the passenger door. Damage that you can see throughout the video evidence that's going to be portrayed to you. That is the single biggest piece of evidence that led to the discovery of the defendant as the perpetrator in this crime. That vehicle leads to a man by the name of Marquise Welch. You're going to hear, he'll be testifying this week. Marquise Welch, you'll learn, is or perhaps was a very good friend of the defendant for many years. And Marquise was arrested the next day, the 27th of December, in that vehicle that the police were looking for.
Marquise, the getaway driver, allegedly, huh?
Mr. Welch was arrested, charged with crimes that were unrelated to this homicide, but he's facing he has his own criminal case. And he's brought into court under what is known as an investigative subpoena interview. Now, for those of you that are unaware or unfamiliar with what an investigative subpoena process is, Michigan law allows the prosecuting attorney to file a petition for serious crimes such as homicide and present that to a judge, a neutral magistrate, to review the petition and authorize subpoenas, which are court orders to appear, for people that the prosecution identifies as potential witnesses to a serious felony charge. Right? So this process was done in this case. Marquise Welch was, because of the undeniable fact that his vehicle was at the scene of a murder, that process was done. Mr. Welch was brought in under investigative subpoena into this building, a different courtroom, but brought into court and questioned under oath about his knowledge of the case. Right? So what you'll learn as you go through the trial and examine yourselves, Mr. Welch, it's going to be a study in human nature. What you're going to have is a juxtaposition between various interests. You're going to have a conflict between self-interest and loyalty to a friend who he knew had committed a murder. So those two interests you'll see during the course of this trial come to loggerheads, and there's a conflict that I want you to carefully examine, because it is human nature when under subpoena, when you know that you're linked to a vehicle that was at the scene of a murder, you're going to cooperate and provide truthful testimony because you know you're not the shooter, and you don't want to be charged with perjury for lying during the course of the investigative subpoena interview. There's a penalty for lying when you're under oath. So he provides very valuable evidence during the course of that investigative subpoena interview. We had an attorney present for that interview. It's in a courtroom. His friend, the defendant, was not present. So he's providing information that incriminates Mr. Newbern, the defendant. His own case, he's got valuable information. You'll learn that is very common in criminal cases, that he has a bargaining chip now that he can use to leverage to put himself in a better position for his own criminal case. You're going to learn that he played that card. And you're going to learn that he provided what is known as a proffered statement to the detectives as part of the plea negotiations. That proffered statement, Mr. Welch had an attorney with him. The defendant was not present to witness his statement. And during the course of the investigative subpoena interview and during the proffered statement to police, this all happens in January of 2023, he provides extremely valuable information in this criminal case. The evidence, this is an outline, just an overview of the evidence you're going to learn that was brought forth by Mr. Welch. Mr. Welch gave the defendant a 9mm Glock pistol. Glock is a manufacturer, in the months prior to the murder. He wasn't sure if it was a Glock Model 17 or a Glock Model 19. Those are model numbers. Glock is the manufacturer. It's like a Toyota Camry. So the model number of the 17 and the 19, those are both 9mm pistols. You're going to learn that. Mr. Welch picked the defendant up on the day of the murder at this store called the Big Top near 36th and Clyde Park in the city of Wyoming. You're going to see that on video. From there, they drive to an Airbnb at 755 College that was rented by a man by the name of Isaiah Smith. Isaiah Smith is going to testify during the course of this trial. And they go there for the purpose of filming or manufacturing a rap music video. In that video, and you're going to see that video, you're going to see the defendant holding a Glock pistol that has an attachment. So there are pistols that have underneath the barrel a rail system that you can attach a flashlight or a laser sight. And you're going to see in this video that the pistol the defendant's holding is a Glock, and it has a laser sight, a very unique laser sight, because the color of this laser is blue. You're going to hear from Michigan State Police forensic and firearm expert Russ Karsten, who's going to tell you that in his 25 years of experience, he has never actually seen a laser light that is blue. They're red and they're green. So this is a very unique laser attachment. From there, Welch drives in his Dodge journey with the defendant from 755 College directly to 47 Canton, where he is dropped off outside the house just before 9:50 p.m. Welch drives to the end of the street. You'll see on video that Mr. Welch backing his Dodge up into the spot, and then as soon as he backs up into the spot at Luna Auto, the headlights go off. Within 30 seconds of that act, while the car is still running with the brake lights on, but the headlights off, you see the defendant running and getting into Mr. Welch's car, which then immediately drives off. You'll learn during the course of the proffered statement that Mr. Welch revealed that the defendant told him, and he quoted, "I shot that bitch." During the proffer,
oh wow,
learned that he said, and he clarified, "I don't know if he meant the house or the girl." Right?
So we might hear a motive
the
in a moment.
investigative subpoena interview and the proffered statement, his friend, the defendant, is not present. So fast forward from there to the preliminary examination on this case, which occurred towards the end of January 2023. During that hearing, which is a probable cause hearing, Mr. Welch provided sworn testimony. The difference here, and this is where the conflicting interests come to loggerheads, is during this hearing, the defendant is present. So he's looking at his friend while he's testifying. And he's consistent with the prior statements, with one difference. When it comes to the statement, "I shot that bitch," during the testimony while he's looking at his friend, the defendant, he says, I think he said, "We shot that bitch," and insinuated or hinted that I believe he was thinking about shooting the rap video. All right, so with Mr. Welch,
that's interesting.
I would ask you to scrutinize every piece of evidence and every witness, but really take a critical and scrutinizing look at Mr. Welch's testimony and bounce everything he says off of all of the other facts and evidence in the case. It's going to be a study in human nature. I ask you to keep that in mind as you evaluate his credibility. Bounce all of his evidence against the other evidence in the case, because the evidence is going to show there is a significant amount of corroboration for what Mr. Welch provided to the police. You're going to see phone and cell tower evidence. Evidence that geolocates the cell phones that Mr. Welch was in possession of and the defendant, Mr. Newbern, was in possession of. Those exactly match the timeline and travel of the defendant and Mr. Welch throughout that day. You're going, Mr. Welch said that he gave the defendant a Glock pistol in the months before the murder. Mr. Newbern, the defendant's phone was seized and was analyzed. You're going to learn the results of that analysis.
Okay, so I paused it, right? I paused it so it won't get too much at one time. But see, the jury got to get it all this at that time, right? You can't pause and break things down. But however, this is a live stream. We're doing this a trial watch, right? So we're going to discuss it. So what I put in the notes is, so what we know so far from the opening statement, the first half of it, we know that there's no actual eyewitness to the shooting. No one's going to come in and say, I saw the defendant with this weapon. I saw when he pulled the trigger. I saw when he shot. There's no eyewitnesses that's going to be able to come in and say that. We learned that it's security footage in the surrounding area. From that security footage, what the excuse me, what the prosecutor is saying is that, hey, this is where we have to, look at, this is like almost a circumstantial evidence part of it, right? So we got the security footage. We got more than one. They able to recognize and point out this vehicle. They able to see, how the vehicle moved and what happened, right? And then he starts saying about through the footage and the ID of the vehicle, that's how they came across a witness who literally put the gun in the defendant's hand. Now, the witness, like he said, you got to think about, I love the fact, I love. I like the way that he goes about explaining the witness. Yes, the witness is a friend of the defendant's. Yes, the witness was able to negotiate his part of the case, by turning witness against the defendant. I thought that was really, really good. And then I like the fact that he pointed out that before the guy was in the court at the pretrial motions or whatever hearings, that the only thing that changed was when he said about the we shot the bitch. Right? So the we part would mean that indicate that we was together, and with the video, because the guy say as what is called? His alibi is that he was shooting a rap video. Okay. So I thought that's real interesting. I like the way that the prosecution is actually laying out his case. I like how it point out the fact that, hey, we have to use, we got to, what human nature normally does, protect, flee, and all that kind of stuff. Let's continue. Very interesting.
On the defendant's own phone is a picture of the defendant himself in a car holding a Glock pistol, and you can see the caliber on the side, 9mm caliber. So you don't need to take Mr. Welch's word that he gave him a gun. The gun consistent with what he gave, what he said he gave to the defendant, is on the defendant's own phone in the defendant's own photograph. The ballistic analysis, there were shell casings that were found at the scene, and there was a projectile. There's one projectile. Unfortunately, you're going to learn that that was the projectile that was recovered during the autopsy of Maya Kelly from her skull. That was analyzed. It has very distinct rifling on the projectile itself. Rifling, you'll learn, is the distinct marks that the lead bullet will make as it traverses the length of a firearm barrel. Ballistic evidence is going to prove that it's consistent with a 9mm. The expert can't say that it is a 9mm because it was a portion of the bullet. And he says it's consistent with a 9mm class. All the shell casings that were recovered at the scene, he's going to testify, were all fired from the same gun. And those shell casings were 9mm. The distinct rifling, in his expert opinion, you're going to learn, is from a Glock match barrel, a proprietary Glock barrel. We don't have the firearm in evidence because you're going to learn that the defendant successfully escaped the scene and got rid of the gun that has a body on it, as the street says, and you'll learn that that's very customary. Glock, 9mm, just like the gun that is in the defendant's own phone photograph, just like the gun that Mr. Welch said he gave to the defendant, just like the gun that's in the video in the hour before the murder. You're going to learn all of these consistencies that corroborate Mr. Welch's testimony. The blue laser light, the very unique blue laser light, exactly like the one that's on the video the night of the murder, was found in a search during a search warrant execution at the defendant's apartment on 36th Street near the Big Top, and hidden in a child's room. You'll see where this was hidden, very carefully hidden to avoid detection, is the blue laser light attachment. You're going to see that laser light attachment as an exhibit important. What you won't see is the firearm that we know it was attached to on the night of the murder, because that firearm is gone.
Now, why would they keep the laser light?
Pay careful attention to the
That's crazy. Why keep that?
Evidence, because circumstantially, the defendant, we're going to prove beyond any reasonable doubt, was dropped off at precisely the time that the shooting occurred. And you see the defendant fleeing the scene and running to Mr. Welch's waiting car. The car drives by twice. So the camera's on 23 Canton, 5 houses down, 47 Canton. You can't see 47 Canton from the 23 camera angle, but you see Mr. Welch's car drive by, and he confirmed this, and you can see the damage on the door. That is exactly a match. You don't need to take Mr. Welch's word for it. This was the Dodge Journey that's associated with Mr. Welch. You see that drive by at 9:46. Exactly 3 minutes later, which is how long it took to go to Division, down the hall, back over to Ionia, north on Ionia to Canton, and then back. 3 minutes later, you see Mr. Welch driving past again, only this time he had dropped off the defendant in front of 47 Canton at the defendant's direction, dropping off in front of his house. 40 seconds later, after.
Okay, so I'm stopping right here because when he was showing the map, the street view, what have you with the map, I was literally saying, but dang, that sure do look like a long way or a far way to be driving for the getaway car to be for the guy to run all the way to. And he just said it himself. It was some distance because he said in the car, allegedly, but if you drive the distance from the first camera where they see it at, or one of the houses, to the where the shooting took place is 3 minutes in the car. So how long is that? About 5, 6, 7 minutes running? How fast can you make it on feet? But it took 3 minutes, from the first camera to the house for him to drive and come back.
After he backs into the stall, turns his lights off, 40 seconds later, the defendant is seen running into the car. Now with the headlights off, you're going to see that car go down Division, past the Sunoco station again, driving all that way with the headlights off. As with Mr. Welch, because of the severity of this investigation, when the defendant, when search warrants were executed, the defendant was arrested. He was brought in and under investigative subpoena. Subpoena means under penalty. So it's a court order to appear. He was brought in. He had an attorney with him, Robert Keyante. He was placed under oath. I did the interview of the defendant for his version of events. And you're going to hear that video. You're going to see that interview. You're going to learn when the defendant had an opportunity to give his side of the story, what did he do? You'll learn that he lied through his teeth. Watch the interview carefully, because the things that he lied about show, the evidence will show, is called consciousness of guilt. The one thing he admitted, because he knows he's on video, is that he was at the Airbnb at 755 College that night. But Mr. Welch wasn't there. He even says it almost jokingly. Mr. Welch was. I know Mr. Welch wasn't there, because if Mr. Welch was there, he would have given me a ride home, and I wouldn't have had to take a lift. Okay. He denies being in that Dodge Journey anytime that entire day. Provably false by the video that you're going to see in the course of the trial. He was asked, "Wow, have you ever been to 47 Keyante, inside or outside?" No. In fact, I have never been on Canton Street. Mr. Newbern, did you possess a gun or anything resembling a gun on December 26, 2022? Hell no. Okay. He's on video with a gun. You'll learn, I even say this, I've seen a lot of rap videos, and it's common to have a firearm. Are you telling me that you didn't have a gun, a real gun, or a fake gun as a prop? Are you telling me under oath right now that I did not possess a gun at all that day? Again.
Wow. So, that's kind of crazy. Why would, and we're going to see the videotape, right? And I love the fact that this court, because we watched, a lot of y'all from Lit Lane, the Pit Crew, we know when we watch trials before, we watch a couple of deals, we know that, like in Stephanie Boyd trial, court, you don't see the evidence, right? Already we know from look at Lady Steph, guilty. Let me tell y'all something. Lady Steph, if she ain't nothing else, she is very consistent. Very consistent. So what I've learned, with Lady Steph, is that she's very hard nosed, and she's gonna lean more for the victims than she gonna ever lean for the accused. I may be presumptuous making that type of assessment, but I know that you take CC say guilty. Okay, but hey, ain't that what but if we sit there, we listening to it, right? We the jury right now. We listening to the prosecution make his opening statement. In his opening statement, he laid out his case. So I think it's only right, as a member of the juror, so far listening to this man make his case, I say he guilty too. You mean to tell me they had a camera footage? You mean to tell me his friends say he dropped him off? You mean to tell me I got a rap video with him holding a gun and he sat there and say he don't even have a gun? So yes, so right now, according to Lady Steph, according to CC, and even myself, the prosecution is doing an excellent job stating his case and what he gonna show. But it's two sides to every story, right? It's two sides. It's the defense and it's the prosecution. Let me look real quickly at the poll. So the poll says, do you have a ring poll? And guess what? It is absolutely, with 14 votes, it's literally split down the middle. 50%, that's 7 people say yes, they got a ring camera. It's 7%, 7 people, 50% say no. Now I didn't vote, so I guess my vote would kind of swing it towards the no, because I don't have a ring camera. But let me tell you, when I don't have a ring camera, but it's constantly when I'm looking at different things or listening to the news or watching this type of situations, I'm always thinking to myself, dang, I need to get a doggone camera. Oh, I shouldn't have said ring camera. Maybe I should have said ring camera. But do you have, maybe I should have said, do you have a security camera? You see what I'm saying? Maybe I should have said that, because that's kind of what I meant. I shouldn't have made it so specific, but it is absolutely my intention to get a camera, security camera. It's my intention to get a security camera, and I have to get one. When I see how much they help, not just the person who the security cameras is for, but other people, your neighbors. I really need to stop dragging my feet, and they got so inexpensive now. Lady Steph say because CC say I have cameras but no ring camera. Lady Steph say I have 4 cameras. Dang. And one that I can see on my TV to view the outside of my house. Obsessive? Perhaps. I strongly believe in them. I know, and you know what? I am going to make it a point. I'm going to get me some type of security camera. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say by the end of April, by the end of next month, I am going to have me a camera. It don't just help protect me. It also helps my neighbors, my community, right? So let's continue.
Provable lie.
You're doing a good job laying out his case.
Key lies are just a portion of his testimony, but they were all self-serving because consciousness of guilt. He knows that those things connect him to this murder, and he lied under oath when given an opportunity. The evidence is going to show, and this is a portion of it, that the defendant possessed a 9mm Glock for the months leading up to the murder. He possessed a 9mm Glock on the day of the murder, within an hour of the murder on video. He arrives at 47 Canton precisely at the moment the murder occurred. The murder was committed with a 9mm Glock. Defendant is going to be provably on video fleeing the scene and getting into Mr. Welch's waiting car. Defendant admitted the shooting to Mr. Welch. Defendant had the blue laser sight, that very unique laser sight, hidden and wait till you see where it's hidden. In the 36th Street address within 2 weeks of the murder. That's January 11th is when that laser sight was found. The laser sight that's seen on the rat video. The judge already discussed the charges. He went over the elements. I'm not going to revisit that. But if you will note during the course of the trial, that motive, the why, is not an element of any of these offenses. I just need to prove to you, Mr. Beck and I, that these offenses occurred. They were committed by the defendant intentionally. We are going to try with the witnesses that are brought forth here this week to answer the question of why, because it's important, but it is not an element of any of the offenses. At the end of the day, at the end of this trial, you may not know why the defendant committed these crimes.
So boom, I paused it right there because I do believe it was Lady Steph who asked the question, do we know the motive? And so I find it very interesting as the prosecution is making its opening statement, laying it all out. What we have, what we gonna prove. What I love the fact that he's saying we not gonna be prove what we not wait. Okay, let me stop being turns out. We don't have, you may not hear an actual motive. You may not be walk away from this before you make your decision as a jury. You may not have a why. But we don't need a why. I'm laying out the case of what happened, what we got, how we came to the conclusion that this man on the other side of the court is guilty. And I don't know if I can't think of a time when I can't think of personally a time when I've heard a case being made with no motive. And so I find it very interesting how he laying out the case, he laying out the weapon part, all the counts. And they don't have a motive after all their investigation. Even right now, as they stand there on day one of the trial, they don't have a motive. But they do have all this other stuff, So there you go, Lady Steph. We might never hear no motive. It sounds to me like we ain't gonna hear a motive at all. Let's continue. Live reaction. Trial watch.
Ms. Trevette and I are wanting to prove to you.
Thank y'all for supporting this content.
And we're going to be asking for a verdict of guilty as to all counts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Faber. Shirkoff, opening statement.
Yes. How much should good car insurance cost you a month? $80? $120? Nope. Try.
Okay. Let's pause. Boom. So, boom. The prosecution just did his opening statement. As far as here the Seymour Lane jury, it is pretty much looking like, we feel like the prosecution made a great case. Laid out his stuff. So now we finna hear from the defense attorney. I'm practicing, even though I'm leaning towards just hearing what the prosecutor said. I'm like, dang, he sounds guilty as hell. How he gonna find his way out of this? So now the defense job is to come in and lay out, in his opening statement, how what he got to do is, okay, CC, drive safe. At this point in time, I think the defense attorney, he gonna have to make a case for what is called reasonable doubt. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see. I'm pretty sure he finna make a case, all his stuff about the reasonable doubt. The defense.
Mr. Faber admitted that no one saw who actually did the shooting. We are not, arguing the point that Maya Kelly was tragically killed on December 26th of 2022. Absolutely not. In fact, you will see through most of the witnesses that are going to be brought up today, I'm probably not even going to have any questions for them. Somebody murdered Maya Kelly. Problem with it is that we have to face here is Mr. Newbern is not the one that did it. They have absolutely no direct evidence showing that. They have put together some stuff that might imply that maybe the person that did it might have been Mr. Newbern, might not have been. That's why in my questioning in voir dire was, when you hold the prosecutor to the standard beyond reasonable doubt. Because they cannot prove that
Oh,
Mr.
there
Newbern
you go.
did this
Reasonable
beyond
doubt.
reasonable doubt. And he didn't. They are relying heavily upon the testimony of a Marquise Welch. And I'll be honest with you right up front.
And there we go. The first time we see the defendant.
He has made numerous conflicting statements about this incident. So I don't want to predict and say, well, here's what he's going to say, and it's right or wrong or what indifferent. He's made way too many different statements for me to predict what to say. But in the end, you will have a chance to see everything. There is this investigative subpoena when my client was questioned on January 11th. And you'll also hear at the very beginning, they picked him up in Lansing, brought him right back down here and questioned him within an hour and a half of him being picked up. And he'll tell you right at the very beginning, I'm drunk from last night. I'm still high from last night. And you'll see from his demeanor that that is absolutely true. So I think there is a question about his accuracy of his questioning that you're going to see on the investigative subpoena. The fact remains, when you put everything together, they cannot show that Mr. Newbern did it and Mr. Newbern did not do it. And we are requesting a not guilty verdict at the end of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirkhoff. First witness, counsel.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. The first witness will be Officer Andrew Middleton.
Just to let everybody know, we're gonna try to break about 10:15, okay? We're trying to kind of break up the morning, but if that's consistent with. Might go over or under based on how the witness is testifying and what we get done, but that's our goal here, okay?
And Your Honor, may I hand out to the jury a reference document that I prepared with a list of witnesses with a blank space under their names in case the jurors would like to take notes.
Any objections, Mr. Kirkhoff? No. Yes, you may. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Very good. Have a seat, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record and also spell it?
My first name is Andrew, Andrew. My last name is Middleton, Middleton.
Thank you. How are you currently employed?
Currently employed with the City of Grand Rapids as a patrol officer.
How long have you worked in that capacity?
It'll be 5 years in April next month.
Were you working as a patrol officer with the City of Grand Rapids back on the day of this incident on December 26th of 2022?
That is correct, I was.
On that date, what location were you dispatched to?
47 Canton Street Southwest.
Is that in the City of Grand Rapids here in Kent County?
It is.
Can you please give the jury an idea of where that street is located within our city?
It's going to be just off Division in the South Service area of Grand Rapids.
And I'm going to show you what strike that. I got just one moment. Your Honor, may the record reflect that the defense is stipulated to the People's Exhibits 1 through 5.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
1 through 5 are good.
Thank you. Officer Middleton, I'm going to show you what has been admitted in this trial as People's Exhibit 2. This is just a poster board of the exhibit that I just put up on the easel. Do you recognize what is shown there?
I do.
Can you please describe that for the jury? There's also a laser pointer right in front of you, if that's helpful. If you can kind of indicate for the jury where Canton is located at.
So Canton Street is.
Okay, I'm back at my desk. I had to jump up and go feed my dog. All right, so now I gotta change this. This is not the opening statement. This is the first witness for the prosecution. It's a report, a police officer who came to the scene. So let's and she's showing the map. So let's continue. This is very interesting. Let's get there. Okay.
Is going to be located in between Ionia Avenue Southwest and Division on the north side of the street, right where that bullet point is located.
Thank you. Officer Middleton, what time of the day or night were you dispatched to that location on December 26th?
It was December 26th at approximately 21:55 hours, so 9:55 p.m. approximately.
And that was the approximate time of the dispatch?
That is correct.
And after you were dispatched, how quickly would you say that you arrived?
Within minutes.
Were you the first officer on scene, or were other officers there before you?
I believe I was one of the first.
Can you please describe for the jury what the scene was like on Canton Street when you arrived?
So we were in lights and sirens to the scene. Upon arrival, I exited my patrol cruiser. The neighbors at 43 Canton, somebody from that address screamed something along the lines of "she shot," in reference to an individual being shot at 47 Canton Street Southwest.
And it's 43 Canton and 47 Canton. Is that a duplex? Are those an attached home?
That is correct. It's adjoined.
And what did you do next?
At that time, we made announcements. There was a male subject that was came to the door. He was ordered out of the house.
Out of which house?
47 Canton.
And so when you initially approached 47 Canton, did you see that male, that person?
I don't believe if I saw him right off the bat or if he was ordered out of the house. But he was secured in a patrol cruiser after contact was made with that male subject.
Is it fair to say that the first people you saw on scene were the neighbors at 43 Canton?
That is correct.
At that time, besides what they were yelling out to you, did you notice anything else unusual in the area? Did you notice any other people?
I noticed that the door to 47 Canton Southwest was partially open, and I saw what appeared to be two human legs in that space in between the open door and on the ground there.
Did you actually go inside 47 Canton?
I did.
Were you the first officer that went inside?
I was one of the first. I don't recall if I was the first one in there.
Can you please describe what you observed inside?
After forcing entry into the house by pushing that door open, I turned the corner and I immediately observed what appeared to be a large quantity of blood on the ground close to where the stairwell was leading to the upstairs. There is a female subject lying on her back. I observed what appeared to be a large sum of blood coming from the left side of her head near her ear.
And was that person later identified as Maya Kelly?
That is correct.
At that time, was she conscious?
She was unconscious at that time. She was not breathing, and I was unable to locate a pulse.
Were any life-saving measures attempted?
I performed chest compressions on the victim for approximately 2 minutes.
And after that, was she later pronounced deceased?
That is correct.
Did you observe any other injuries on the person of Maya Kelly at that time?
The only injuries that I physically observed on the victim were the apparent gunshot wound that she had to the left side of her head near her ear.
And so at that moment, when you were performing chest compressions on the victim, were there any other civilian adults in the house? Any other people in the house?
At the time that I was inside the house, my sole focus was on the victim. Other officers cleared the house. I'm unsure.
And at the time that you entered 47 Canton, were you wearing a body camera attached to your uniform?
That is correct.
And you actually have that on right now as you're testifying?
Yep. It's this one right here.
Just so the jury can see
Yep.
where that's located. It wasn't activated back in the day of this incident.
It was activated.
At this time, Your Honor, I move to play for the jury a portion of Officer Middleton's body-worn camera, which is People's Exhibit 3.
Okay, so we finna see some body cam footage.
Not because it's been a minute, it's been a minute since you showed, you can be off, lecture.
And I would note, Your Honor, that images of the victim will be shown here, so if there's anyone in the gallery that does not want to see these images, I would just make that warning at this time.
Okay. And is there a period of silence to begin this?
I don't believe so. I believe it picks up right away.
Okay. Sometimes there's a little bit of silence after the camera comes up again, right? Sometimes there's the sound doesn't kick on right away. It's first the visual kicks on, then the sound kicks on later.
I believe it's 15 to 20 seconds
Okay.
of
That might
silence.
help the jury for this or some other way. So go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people will now play People's Exhibit 3.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and verbally make the trigger warning. This will be showing the trigger warning. Okay, we will be seeing the scene of a violent crime. We will make it's possible that we will see the victim at the scene of a violent crime. So please be advised to make the best decision for yourself. This content does include matters of a violent nature, and this is a trigger warning. Okay, we're watching the body cam footage of one of the first officers that arrived at the scene. Right? I know because we watched Judge Boyd here in Houston, and she don't show like what it's real good that we're able to see what the jury sees. You know. Okay, so let's look at this body cam footage. Be advised of a trigger warning.
Anyone with $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans may qualify for help from National Debt Relief. Minimum payments could literally keep you in.
Okay, so I think I need to go ahead and put. I'm gonna go ahead and put my banner up for when they show when the body is on the screen. Okay, because this is a public platform and I don't want to not be able to have the content. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put up the banner right now. For just while a body is being shown, okay?
Officer Middleton, was that a portion of your body worn camera?
That is correct.
And does that show your initial entry into 47 Canton?
That is correct.
Thank you. And after that time, is that when you described you
they didn't show it.
life-saving measures on Ms. Kelly?
That is correct.
So the male person that we see in that video exit 47 Canton?
Right, the kids was right there, Angel.
That is.
Glad you're still here. Thank y'all for
And
supporting
who
this
is
content.
Omar Dana in relation to the victim?
I believe that was her boyfriend at the time.
And so is it fair to say that another officer dealt with Omar Dana?
That is correct.
Did you have any contact with Omar Dana?
I don't believe so.
And did you speak with him in any way that you recall?
I don't believe so, no.
So after the point where the video stopped, what did you do next when you were on scene?
So directly after that video stops, as previously mentioned, I performed life-saving measures until the victim was pronounced deceased. And then we immediately secured the area, canvassed the area, and then I talked to the neighbors at 43 Canton Street South.
And when you say we canvass the area, can you please describe to the jury what that means?
That includes taping off, looking for shell casings or any other evidence on the streets or nearby indicative of anything related to that shooting scene.
Did you locate any such items?
I did not.
Did you locate any possible suspects in the area?
I did not.
And fair to say other officers showed up on scene as well?
That is correct.
How many officers would you say responded to the scene that night?
I couldn't give an exact number. I'd probably place it around 15.
Did other officers also canvass the area as well?
That is correct.
Did you personally check for any interior or exterior video surveillance at 47 Canton?
At 47 Canton specifically, I believe I checked the exterior near that door.
And how about next door at 43 Canton?
I checked for exterior cameras on the south side of that
So-
address as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. You did check for video surveillance?
On the exterior.
And so did you find any exterior video surveillance at either 47 or 43?
I did not.
Did you go next door to 43 Canton and speak with the residents inside?
That is correct.
And without getting into everything that they said at this point, can you please describe for the jury just what their demeanor was like, who was there? Can you please describe that?
The complainant who initially called in the shooting incident is the female that I primarily spoke with at 43 Canton Street Southwest. Just from my conversation, the complainant appeared extremely distraught and upset over the incident.
When you went next door to 43 Canton, did you observe any children?
So this the neighbor.
That's correct.
Do
Okay,
you know where those
it's a
children
duplex.
came from? Did they live at 43 or did they come from somewhere else?
I believe two of the children came from 47 Canton Street Southwest, and the complainant, when she initially went over there prior to calling us, she took the two children from 47 Canton Street Southwest and moved them into her address, 43.
So when you actually spoke with them, they were watching those kids.
That is correct.
Did you personally speak with anyone else on scene that day?
Just the complainant at 43 Canton Street Southwest.
Were you involved in any other part of this investigation?
No.
Officer Middleton, did you, when you were inside 47 Canton, did you observe weapons of any kind?
I did not. My primary focus was on the victim when she was located.
And so besides having contact with the victim and attempting life-saving measures with her, did you note anything else unusual or out of the ordinary inside 47 Canton?
Besides the victim, no.
And did you observe any weapons or find anything outside 47 Canton or 43 Canton?
I did not.
Did you observe any weapons on Omar Dana?
I did not.
And were any weapons ever located on him?
I don't believe so. I didn't search him.
Thank you, officer. I have no other questions at this time.
Mr. Goff, any questions for this witness?
There was snow on the ground on this night, correct?
That is correct.
And do you remember if it was snowing at all during this incident, either immediately before or during your time there?
I don't recall.
No further questions.
Anything else, Mr. Burdette?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you all.
Boom. So we just got through with the first witness. First witness was a respondent, one of the first responding officers. We was able to see some of the body cam footage, whereas we saw the neighbors at the door, and we saw the door when he walked into the actual home. You know, right now, what I'm really wondering is, I'm real curious to see I'm pretty sure that the other residents of the duplex, the other side, the neighbors, I'm pretty sure they go testify, right? And I'm really interested in knowing, because the prosecutor didn't say anything about it, but is there any chance that this was the wrong house or the wrong target, wrong victim? You know, I'm gonna keep on rolling right here. Let's see. That went kind of fast. Let's go. Live reaction. Oh, no. Let me take this time and say, so what we know so far, when I say what we know so far, this is what the prosecution laid out, right? We know there's no actual witness to the shooting. It's security footage in the surrounding area. From that footage, they was able to identify, point out or finger a victim. No, I'm sorry, a vehicle. And from the identification of the vehicle, description of the vehicle, and finding that, that's how they was able to find a witness, the alleged getaway driver. They did not find the actual weapon, but we do know so far, we found out that they're going to be able to prove that the defendant did own the weapon because of different video camera and pictures and things like that. And then they're going to also be able to point out, they made a point to say that they had a very unique blue laser, right? And the blue laser was found in the defendant's home. So I'm real interested to see. I might go over the little 2 hours. I was gonna try to keep it short, but let me say I'm gonna keep it around 2 or 3 hours because I want to know what's going on. I'm invested now. I'm in it now. Let's see.
Officer Middleton, you're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, next witness, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Officer Van Vliet.
Morning, sir. Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, ma'am. Very good. Next, please. Go ahead, Mr. Beck.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Morning.
Get situated.
I did. I'm all set.
Could you please tell the jurors your name and also spell it for the record?
Yep. Officer Van Vliet. Van Vliet spelled VanVliet.
Thank you. How are you currently employed?
I'm a canine officer with the City of Grand Rapids Police Department.
How long have you worked in that capacity?
9 years.
Were you working as an officer with the City of Grand Rapids back on December 26th of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you dispatched to the location of 47 Canton Street on December 26th?
Yes, ma'am.
Was Officer Middleton already there when you arrived?
Yeah, either just before I arrived or right when I arrived.
Were you one of the initial officers that responded, or did you get there later?
Initial officers.
How many officers were on scene when you got there? Do you remember?
I do not remember.
Can you please describe to the jury what your primary role was on scene that night?
Yeah, so the best of my recollection, the call came in where somebody had been shot at the address or near 47 Canton. We arrived on scene to initially find where the victim was, and our job then was to either render aid to the victim or scene security.
Did you actually have contact with the victim when you were on scene, or was that more of Officer Middleton?
We both, it was obvious that the victim was beyond help at that point.
Did you have contact with anyone else on scene? Did you speak with anyone else?
Yes, I did.
And who was that?
The victim's boyfriend, Omar Donna.
Can you please describe to the jury when you first saw him, or can you just describe the scene as it relates to Omar?
Yes, when we
was
arrived
the
on
intended
scene,
victim
we approached
the
the house,
boyfriend?
and Omar kind of burst from the
Omar.
house, pretty panicked. Wasn't able to really articulate any sentences, so I gathered them and checked him for weapons, make sure there was none on him, and he was secured in the backseat of the police car.
Did you search Omar Dana?
I did.
Did he have any weapons on him?
No, ma'am.
At that time, you said he was secured in the back of a patrol car. Why was that done at that time?
To conduct an interview, as well as keep him out of the cold. If he was at the state, it was the end of December, and it was pretty cold outside.
Was it snowing?
It had been snowing.
Had it been snowing that day or previous days, or do you not know?
I do not.
But it wasn't actively snowing when you arrived?
Not to my recollection.
And can you please describe the demeanor of Omar Dana when he first came out of the house? How was he acting?
He was in a state of shock. He wasn't really able to answer any questions initially that I was asking him.
Did you later on have a more detailed conversation with him?
Yes, ma'am.
When you had a conversation with him, was he still in the back of the cruiser?
Yes, ma'am.
At that time, were you wearing a body-worn camera that was attached to your uniform?
I was, ma'am.
And was it activated on that date?
Yes, ma'am.
This time, Your Honor, the people would move to play for the jury what has been stipulated to and admitted as People's Exhibit 4, the body-worn camera from Officer Van Lee.
Any objection? No.
Nickelodeon was kid everything, but that marked one of the darkest chapters. These are 3 predators who worked at Nickelodeon.
It made me wonder.
I'm gonna watch this, you guys, and do
Have
a.
you ever told your story publicly before?
review.
Quiet on Set,
Quiet
an
on Set.
ID true crime event, Sunday, March 17th at 9 on ID.
Okay, so we're watching the second officer's body cam footage. I may have to put a
I'll see it now. I'll see it now. When you go to watch the movie, I was watching the movie talking about. Somebody knocked on the door. Somebody knocked on the door. And they knocked on the door. I was like, the door. And she went to the door. So he was close to it. She went to the door. So somebody said something like, sorry, my mom was thinking about punching like my voice or something like that. I don't know, like they made a little boy. And she's like, somebody did that. And she turned to me and said, somebody's playing and then shot me from on the window. I dove over and got my kids. I dove over to my kids. I ran out, called the police. But I was scared because I heard a lot of rumbling. And I didn't know if it was her. I had my kids. I was scared. I was the police in the air. I didn't want nobody to hear me, so I looked at the police and I got the neighbors. But the neighbors, I was so scared. The neighbors ran to help. I yelled out the window, who is it? I tried I did everything I could for her. I tried. I was scared, bro. So, no, nobody saw it. Was through the door. You see the shot. I heard me. She was like, please, somebody hears you. Help me. Yes.
Remember last week?
Yes.
With this Terrell?
Yes, that's my cousin. That's my cousin.
Terrell had an ambulance. Terrell had an ambulance.
I don't know. That's why. Sir, can we do this, sir? Can we do this? Is there any way possible where I can get like my parents and I was trying to talk? Please, sir. I need to talk. I need somebody to just know where our kids.
Are they okay with staying with your neighbors? Just like just for someone to say it to me.
I don't know. We can both on the air, sir.
Okay. Please, where do her parents live?
Oh we. You know, I hate to stop right here, but do y'all notice that? You know, this is the boyfriend. This is the body cam footage, right? And it's the body, the boyfriend. He was in the house. They asking him all these questions and stuff like that because they don't know what's going on. This is one of the officers at the scene. The kids are there. What I stopped it right there and said, ooh, we is because the cops saying, well, okay, because this guy, you know, he's saying, look, all this happening, this is my girlfriend, this the mother of our children right there. Can we at least stop and call a grandmother, somebody, a family member to come get the kids, to console the kids, comfort the kids? The cops say, okay, but is it okay for them to go with the neighbors? Did y'all hear that man? He said, I don't know if the neighbors got something to do with this. Which is a real reaction. Right? A real reaction. And what was human nature? As soon as we found out, as soon as I heard that it was a duplex, one of my first thoughts was, well, damn, do y'all think this could have been a mistaken door? Right? I said that. I said, maybe this was the wrong house. You know, he said he might be thinking the same thing from right now, from right here. Okay, let's go. Let's go. This is, ooh, let's go.
Yes, her father's name is Robert Kelly. Sir, please, I'm so scared right now. Sir, please give me some, please give me like some type of contact. Sir, please give me somewhere I can talk to my parents, my mom, everybody. Please, sir, I'm scared right now. Arnold. Her father's name is Robert Kelly. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind, bro. It's just breaking my bro. Please tell me something that we can do bro. I'm scared, bro. I'm scared.
Wow. Wow. This is heartbreaking. And let me pause it right there, right? Can you imagine? I mean, I wouldn't want to imagine, right? But you know, can you imagine this something so terrible happening? Right? And because of the fact of how the things gotta go and how the legal, you know what I'm saying? That you can't even be there. You get separated from your kids. You can't go to the hospital with your loved one. Because they gotta detain you until they get some understanding of what's going on. Oh Lord, my heart goes out to the victim. You know, when we do this type of content, we understand that when I say we, I'm talking about Seymour Lane, right? Me and my viewers, we understand that it's a real victim, a real family, and a real loss. Making this content is meant to be something where we look at the judicial system, we look at the crime, the effects of crime, and the whole scenario from the time the crime happened to the cases, the court cases, to even the pardons and paroles. My condolences again go out to the family.
Your Honor, I believe that, I think everyone agreed that was quite difficult to hear. It was echoing a lot.
I think so.
So I think we have another way that we could try to play it that would be more clear, if we could do that. Where we would just put it maybe up by the microphone.
It's the same exhibit, that's fine.
It is.
Okay. Yeah, there was a lot of that, though. It's hard to hear a lot of it.
Somebody please talk to me. I'm bad at this. I'm scared. I'm losing my mind. It's my girl, bro. Please. I understand. I'm so sorry. I'm calm, but can you please talk to somebody? Talk to me. Give us some help, bro. Please. Please, I'm losing my mind. My kids is here. I need some help. Please. Please, sir. This what happened, sir. I was sitting down. We supposed to be watching movies.
Why they playing it again? Dang, I got a phone call, y'all.
Somebody knocked on the door. As they knocked on the door, I was at the door, and she went to the door. So she was the closest to us, so she went to the door. Somebody said something like, sorry, if I'm not mistaken, I promise God it sounded like a white voice or something like that. I don't know, like they made a funny voice. They person like somebody ran, and she turned to me and said somebody's planning and shot. She went off, she fell. I dove over and got my kids. I dove over to the ground with my kids. I ran, I called the police, but I was scared because I heard a lot of rumbling, and I didn't know if it was what it was, but I had my kids and I was scared and I was on the phone with the police trying to get them there, and I didn't want nobody to hear me, so I hung up on the police and I got the neighbors, but the neighbors, I was so scared, the neighbors grabbed me for help. I yelled out the window, who is it? I tried I did everything I could for her. I tried, bro. I was scared, bro. So, no, nobody saw it. It was through the door. You can see the shots. So I promise you, like, please, can somebody get her some help, please?
They didn't even open the door. They shot through the door, through the peephole.
Yes. With Mr. Terrell? Yes, that's my cousin. That's my cousin. Terrell, I didn't do this. Huh? Terrell, I didn't do this. I don't know. He's in jail to my knowledge. I don't know. Sir, I don't know. That's why. Sir, can you please be?
Now that's real interesting, and I hope they gonna cover that. You know, the attorneys. Who is Terrell? Where they get the name Terrell from? Right? Terrell not at the scene, and then this dude saying that Terrell, his cousin, I think he in jail right now. So where in the Sam hell did they come up with the name Terrell? Oh, because they said it wasn't clear the first time. Thank you, Winter, because I had got a phone call. Thank you. But I was going to rewind it anyway, right? So that's real interesting. I'm pretty sure it seemed like so far, every time I say something, I'll be like, I wonder if, then they answer it. So I'm going to be patient, okay? Let's continue. Let's see. And we right at the 2 hour mark. I'm going to go ahead and do that poll now. Let's continue this.
Can we do this, sir? Can we do this? Is there any way possible where I can get like her parents, my parents, and downtown and we just talk? Please, yes, can we please, sir? I need to calm down. I need some comfort. Yes, those are our kids. Are they okay to stay with the neighbors? Just to hang this for somewhere safe to be. Tonight? No, I don't know. I don't know if they had anything to do with it. I don't know. I'm scared, sir. Okay. Please. Where do her parents live? They stay in Cedar Springs. What's her mom? Angela Arnold. Yes, her father's name is Robert Kevin. Sir, please, I'm so scared right now, sir. Please, can you please give me like some type of signal? Is there any way I can, sir, please give me somewhere where I can talk to her parents?
That's possible.
Sir, I'm scared right now. Arnold. Her father's name is Robert Kelly. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind, bro. I just witnessed my girl get her pussy and not, bro. Please tell me something, sir. Please keep me, bro. I'm scared, bro. I'm scared.
Thank you, Honor. We just finished playing that exhibit again. I think it was a little bit more clear, but of course the jury will have that as well as an exhibit and evidence that they can use during their deliberations.
That's true. Well, listen to it during deliberations, you can.
Officer Van Vliet, so that person in the back of the cruiser, that was Omar Dana, correct?
That's correct.
And did that person have children in common with Maya Kelly?
Yes, ma'am. 2 children in common.
And so during that time, did Mr. Dana, did he ever indicate to you that he knew who was involved?
No, he did not.
Did he ever say that he saw the shooter?
No, he did not.
Did he know who the shooter was?
No, he did not.
During that conversation, did he ever give you any possible suspect names?
No, he did not.
During that clip that we just saw, do you recall or did you hear the point where you asked, does Terrell have anything to do with this?
Yes, I did.
When you say Terrell, who is Terrell?
It's a family member of his.
And why did you ask that question when you did?
Previous week, I believe about maybe 2 weeks earlier or 1 week earlier, there was an incident at that same address involving a Terrell who was arrested out of that address for, I believe, armed robbery.
When you say that address, was that 47?
See, there we go. So apparently they had the same question. Well, who is Terrell and why where his name came from? Very interesting. Let's continue. Very interesting.
Yes, ma'am. 47 Keyante.
And were you personally present at that incident the week or 2 before?
Yes, I was.
Was that on December 19th?
That sounds correct.
And so on that date, on December 19th at 47 Canton, was Omar Dana there on that date?
Yes, he was.
And Terrell was there on that date?
Yes, he was.
What is Terrell's last name?
I do not recall.
Does Terrell Franklin sound correct, or do you just not know?
I just don't know without looking at
But it was Terrell.
Correct.
When you were on scene that day, did you speak with anyone else?
I did not.
Did you ever enter into 43 Canton?
I did.
What was the purpose for you entering into 43 Canton?
That was to check the welfare of the children.
And how were they?
They were okay.
How old were they?
I do not recall the exact ages, but they were young, probably 3, 4 years old.
And at that time, they were in the custody of the neighbors at 43 Canton?
That is correct.
Do you know who notified Maya Kelly's family about her death?
Yes,
Who did?
myself and Chief Eric Winchell.
And Chief Winstrom was on scene as well?
That's correct.
And who did you notify about Maya's death? Which family member?
It was the mother.
Was that Angela Arnold?
Yes.
Did you have any other involvement in the investigation of this case?
I did not.
I can have just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna go another hour because I didn't want to stop. It's already getting interesting. I know a lot of y'all been
You
here.
indicated already that.
Yeah,
you
I'm glad
checked
y'all wanna
Omar Dana
continue.
For weapons and that did not find any, correct?
Correct.
Were you involved with clearing the house at all at 47 Canton?
Yes.
Can you please describe that for the jury?
Yep. So in a situation like that with a homicide, we want to check and make sure there's no other victims inside the house, or anybody who's potentially lying in wait. So we just check the residence and make sure there's either no more victims or anyone hiding.
Did you find any other victims?
No, we did not.
Did you find anyone else inside?
No, we did not.
Did you find any weapons?
No, we did not.
Anything else unusual that you took note of inside 47 Canton?
Other than the physical evidence that was inside that threshold of the front door, no, we did not.
The physical evidence surrounding the door and surrounding Maya, things like that?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you, officer. Those are all the questions I have.
Thank you, Mr. Cardone.
Mr. Dana told you he did not see who did this, correct?
That's correct, sir.
But he did tell you that person had a weird voice and sounded like a white male, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He also told you that Maya recalled
Exactly,
that
Lady
opening
Steph.
the
That's
front
what I was
door,
thinking.
having an argument with whoever was outside.
That's correct.
No other questions?
Anything else, Mr. Beck?
There's one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Officer Van Vliet, just to clarify, the timing of the statements that you just referenced. So did you have a more detailed conversation with Omar Dana besides what we saw on your body cam?
I did not.
So the statements that Mr. Kirkhoff just asked you about, would those have been at a different point in time, or would it all be captured here?
That was all captured there.
And so when you had said that Omar Dana said that Maya opened the door, do you recall him saying that?
After seeing the video, that no, he said Maya opened the door, correct.
But that any statements that Omar gave would be captured on this body cam that we just played here in court.
That is correct.
And you're not referring to any other time that he gave you additional statements?
Not that I can recall,
no. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Kirkhoff?
No, Your Honor, I just, in the event that I may need him to recall him to impeach Mr. Dana, I just ask that he be available.
Okay. All right, sir, you're temporarily excused. You might be called back. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, I think this is an appropriate time to take a break. We'll take a very short break, so I think it's a good time. Don't you, Mr.
I agree.
All right, thank you. All right, we're gonna take a break about 10:30. Moving away. Thank you for your attention this morning, and I appreciate the guys who made it early today as well. All right, otherwise, that's the jury. We'll see about 10:30.
Why would I use kayak to compare hundreds of travel sites at once? I like to do things myself. I can't trust anything else to do the job right. Kayak.
Kayak. Search one and done.
What if is a symptom that torments individuals with OCD?
What if I upset someone I love?
What if I have to think only happy thoughts to keep my family safe?
What if I wrote something inappropriate?
What if I get in trouble? What if I left the stove on?
What if I'm an imposter?
What if I'm always going to be like this?
I hate my intrusive thoughts, but they're not who I am.
What if research brings hope?
There's a new clinical trial investigating a potential treatment for OCD. See if you qualify.
I could be sitting here for 15 hours, and then as soon as I get up, you know, they switching over to witnesses. So they're going to the defendant, Keyante Newbern. He been accused of unaliving a young lady by the name of Maya Kelly, 23 years old, mother of two. This happened one night at a duplex. What we found out is that the door was never even opened. It was a knock at the door. Maya went to answer the door, and when she peeped out of the peephole, that's when she was fatally shot. So far, we heard from two witnesses, prosecution witnesses, both responding officers at the scene. Okay, they just coming off a break. This is day one of the hearing, and thank y'all for tuning in to Trial and Jury, where we do a trial watch and see if we come up with what we decide here on Seymour Lane. So they're finna start back. We're gonna get back on that. Let me see. And this is why, okay, hold on. And this is the reason why I do it after the case end, so we can pause, stop, don't have to wait for all the long waits.
Good morning, ma'am. Can you please raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, very good. Have a seat, please. Go ahead, Mr. Beth.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please state your name for the record and also spell it?
Erica Atkinson. That's ERICKAATKIN.
And Ms. Atkinson, do you also have a daughter by the same name?
I do.
Does she also have a middle name?
Yes, Shanice.
And how do you spell that?
SHANICE.
Thank you. Ms. Atkinson, I'd like to direct your attention back to the day of this incident on December 26th of 2022. Do you recall that day?
I do.
On that day, were you in the area of Canton Street?
I was.
Do you live in that area, or does your daughter? Could you please describe that for the jury?
My daughter lives in the area, and I'm often over there with her and my granddaughter. I stay the night at times.
Do you recall what the address was where your daughter lived at?
43 Canton.
And I'm going to put a photo up here, which is.
Thank you for the cash app support. I appreciate it.
That has already been admitted in this trial. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And what is that?
On the right side of the screen, my daughter lives there, and on the left side, Maya lived there.
So you're saying on the right side of the screen?
Yes.
Oh.
That would have been where your daughter lived?
Correct.
And
okay, so this lady Erica is the mother of the neighbor, one of the neighbor's mother. I wonder what she did. Let me type it in.
how about on the left side of the screen? Who lived there, if you know?
Maya.
Did you know Maya?
I did.
And how did you know her?
Like I said, I often went over there and I played with her kids, with my granddaughter, and I spoke with her from time to time.
How many kids did Maya have?
2.
And at the time of her death, how old were they?
I believe her oldest was 4 and her youngest was 1.
Do you know who the father of those children is?
Yes.
And who is that?
Omar.
Do you know his last name?
No.
And do you know Omar well?
Not well. Just passing by, hi and bye.
Is it fair to say you knew Maya more than you knew Omar?
Correct.
And you said you were present there on December 26th of 2022?
Yes.
Can you please describe what was going on that day before police responded to the scene?
It was pretty quiet, normal. I didn't have to work that day, so I was over there.
Remember, this is the day after Christmas when this happened. The day after Christmas.
6 o'clock, I left and went to go get my hair done.
Is it 6 o'clock a.m. or p.m.?
PM.
So you left to go get your hair done around 6 o'clock in the evening. Did you come back?
I did.
And at that time, what time was it when you came back?
I'm not really precise on the time, but it was like between 9:30, maybe 10 o'clock.
And so before you left to get your hair done, was there anything unusual that happened that day?
Not that I can recall.
And then you get back around, you say 9:30 or 10 o'clock, back to 43 Canton.
Correct.
And when you arrived at that time, was there anything unusual or out of the ordinary?
No.
And who else was at your daughter's place when you got there?
She had a friend there, and it was her and my granddaughter.
How old is your granddaughter? How old was she at that time?
6.
And who was the friend?
Some guy my daughter had over there. I don't really know.
So then it was just you, your daughter's friend, and your granddaughter.
Correct.
So then what happens after you arrive back there around 9:30 or 10?
I go in the house and I sit in the living room, which is the 2 front windows, in a chair, and
You're saying the 2 front windows in
that's
the
the
photograph?
living room. Yes. That's the living room.
And you're getting these photos on the right side of the house.
Correct.
Who else was in the living room? Was it just you?
My daughter and her friend.
And how about your granddaughter? Where
She was upstairs in her room playing.
And at that time, did you hear anything unusual?
No.
Had you heard any arguments, anything that you remember at that time?
No, it was fairly quiet.
And you said that you've been at that house before at 43 Canton?
Correct.
Can you often hear what's going on next door? I mean, are the walls thin or not so much, or how would you describe that?
We could hear what was going on in each other's apartments because the walls are very thin.
But on that day, when you arrived back there, you didn't hear anything unusual?
No.
And what happened next?
I sat down in the chair, got settled in, I would say maybe 10 minutes. My stomach began to hurt, and I felt like I was going to get physically sick. And I wanted to tell my daughter, but I felt like if I got up or said anything that I would get sick. So I just sat in the chair. And once I put my head back, I just heard shots ring out.
How many shots did you hear?
3.
Where were they coming from?
I thought they were shooting in my daughter's house.
What makes you say that?
Because it was so close. Like, I could tell they were right outside of that window.
And you said you heard 3 shots?
Yeah.
And can you describe to the jury, were those shots, were they loud, were they not loud? How would you describe them?
They were loud. Like, I thought they were shooting in my daughter's house. And I just slumped down in a chair to try to get on the floor. My daughter friend laid down on the floor, and my daughter got on the floor and crawled up the steps to her baby.
At that time, did you see anyone outside?
No.
Were there blinds in that house, or
Yeah,
curtains, or what was there?
She had blinds and curtains and they were closed.
They were closed.
It was night, so.
And you said you heard 3 shots. Can you describe to the jury, were they close together? Was there a break in time between the shots? Can
It
you
was
please describe
like
that?
Well, me, I'm gonna put up some
pow, pow,
information so
right
you can
after
know what's
one
going
another.
on.
Did it sound like it was from the same gun? Did they sound the same or did they sound different?
To me, it sounded the same, like it was from one gun.
That it was from one gun?
Correct.
So after you got on the ground and your daughter's friend got on the ground and your daughter went up to check on your granddaughter, what happened next?
We were pretty much frozen. I called upstairs to my daughter to make sure they were okay. And I was afraid to open the door or look out the window, so I did it. I would say maybe 40 seconds, 50 seconds passed maybe. And my daughter's friend went to the door. He said he wanted to check on his car to see if his windows were shot out. And when he opened the door, I went behind him. And I never looked next door at the door. I was really afraid to like step out. So I just kind of stood in the doorway. And then I noticed a car going by kind of slowly. It was a black car with tinted windows.
And did you notice anything else about that car?
Just, it was a man driving. That's all.
You said it was a black car?
Yeah.
Can you describe it in any more detail? Do you know what kind of car
It was like a 4-door. I don't know what kind of car it was.
And when you came out the door at that time, did you see anyone on foot?
No.
Did you see anyone walking in the area?
No, and I wasn't looking for it. I'm gonna be honest.
And did you see anyone running in the area?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right there, right? Because I think right now with the defense cross-examination, what I find really, really interesting is that the defense attorney, by asking that question or bringing up the subject about that car, that black car, right then and there, I do believe that's when the defense is setting up that reasonable doubt, right? Because we know that we know they was talking about another vehicle, the one that they got the security footage, whatever it's called, the video cam footage in the down the street where they saying the getaway car, also at the store, all the places where they built their case on was built around not a black vehicle. So this is the first time that somebody mentioning a different vehicle, a black vehicle. Okay, that's that reasonable doubt, I do believe. Lady Steph says, so the friend heard got gunshots and he wanted to go outside to see if his car windows were shot out. Wow. I would not automatically think that somebody shot out my car windows. Would y'all? Nah, I'll be like, damn, I'll be trying to check to make sure the neighbors okay, or everybody in the house okay. You know, I thought about that too. You know, why would, with him saying, let me go see if the car window shot out, that's almost like as though, why would he think he the target? You know what I'm saying? Why would his car be the target? You know? So very, very interesting. So, but I really think right now what the defense attorney is doing is setting in that what is called reasonable doubt. Okay, so let's push go.
You just said you saw a black car, 4 doors. And do you
Thank
have
you for joining the
any
stream with me.
information that vehicle was involved or related to this, or was it just driving by?
No.
You're
I
gonna
have
have
any
to rewind and
information
catch
that
the
it was
beginning so
involved.
you
It
can
was
be
just,
ready for the next
to
one.
me, just driving by.
You just remember it being there?
Yes.
Did you notice anything else unusual about that car?
Just it had dark tinted windows.
In which direction was it going?
If you look at the screen, it was traveling toward the vehicle in the driveway, toward Division, instead of toward Maya's house.
And I'm going to put up on here on the overhead at this time, before I do that, Your Honor, may the record reflect that Mr. Kirchhoff has stipulated to People's Exhibits 6 through 21?
It shall. Mr. Kirkhoff did that when you weren't present, but he's agreed to the omission of Exhibit 6 through 21.
Hey, Aisha, girl. Welcome.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a good pause in place because I know where me just came in and Aisha. Okay, so let me do a brief. I'm sorry, I was eating a bagel. Okay, so what we're looking at, you guys, is a trial that just took place in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It just ended on Friday. I did not say what the result was. We're not talking about that. We're actually putting ourselves in a position to be a jury at this trial. This is day one. The defendant in this case is a Keyante. Let me get this picture. Okay, so this is the defendant in the case. Keyante, I can't think of his name right now. But this is him. I'll pull it up in a second. Let's see. Name Keyante Newbern. Keyante Newbern is accused of shooting and unaliving the victim, Maya Kelly, on December 26, 2022, the day after Christmas. It was a knock at the door of Maya Kelly's residence. She went to the door, asked who was it, and was shot through the peephole, never having had opened the door. Witnesses, as far as there was no eyewitness to the shooting, but they put together this case with what is called circumstantial evidence, including a getaway driver and footage of the car and all that kind of stuff. So this is just the third witness. This is the first witness that was actually there as a in the house was a duplex. We heard from two officers, and now this is the first non-legal professional witness. Let's go. Live reaction.
Also, Your Honor, I believe Mr. Kirkhoff stipulates the People's Exhibit 24, which is a map of the addresses on Canton Street, and the people move for its admission.
Any objection? No. 24 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Ms. Atkinson, I'm going to put up here on the overhead just a map of addresses from Canton Street. Can you see that okay? I know it's a little far away. And then there's also a poster board behind you, and that is the same photograph.
Okay.
So up here, where it says 43, it's on Canton.
Thank you, Aisha, girl. You can relax doing this live.
Correct.
And you said that you saw that black car going towards which street?
It was going toward Division. So if you pass 43, it'll go 39, 35, 31, 27 toward Division.
Okay, so what happens next? So you said that's the time that you open the door, you follow your daughter's friend kind of out, and then what else do you do?
So at that time, my daughter comes downstairs, and I tell her to knock on the people's door to see if they're okay next door. And she looks over there and she says, "Mom, they got a bullet hole in the door."
Was that there before?
No. So I tell her to knock on the door.
Sharice, I'm glad
just
to see
reach
you,
around
girl.
and knock on the door, because at that point she was afraid. And so I
I
said,
know
just
most
reach
of the people that's
around
been here
and
from the
knock on
beginning,
the
they still
door
here.
and
Thank you.
see if anybody answered. And she said, "I hear the kids screaming." And at that time, I got on the phone, I called 911. But in the process of calling 911, I felt like I needed to go over there and help them. So I told my daughter, I'm going to go over there. And I came out the house and the door was shut. I could hear the kids screaming. I tried to open the door. And at that time,
Was
I
the door
couldn't. It was
still
shut.
closed at that time, or was it open?
It was shut, and it was shut. Her boyfriend, Omar, came to the door and said, my girlfriend need help. And so I couldn't get in because he kind of opened it and cracked the door like.
Nikki.
So I pushed the door to go in to try to help them. And when I got in there, her eyes were dilated and she had blood coming out of her temple. And I checked her pulse and she didn't have pulse. So he was frantic. He was standing in the living room with no shirt on and some jogging pants and some socks. And the kids were screaming and he kept saying, help my girlfriend, help her. And I told him I couldn't help her, that she was already gone. And so I told him that I would take the kids because the little boy was standing at the bottom of the steps looking at his mother.
Oh, wow.
And
we just learned the ages 4 and 1.
Screaming. So I didn't want to contaminate the scene by crossing over Maya. So I just told him to give me the kids, and he got the kids and gave them to me. And we went next door to my daughter's house.
And was Omar saying anything else to you in that time
He
besides
just-
help her?
He just kept saying, can we put her in your car and take her to the hospital? And I was like, we can't.
So then did you take the kids next door?
I did.
He was
And
steady
do you know where
trying.
Omar went at that time?
Well, he was afraid because he thought whoever had shot through the door
Very
was going to
sad.
come back. So he kept saying he got to hide. And he was asking us if he could come over there. And I was like, no. So he went back in the house and shut the door and locked it.
Damn,
So he
no.
never came inside 43 Keyante.
No.
So he went.
Pause. Okay. I'm trying to be, I tries to be very, y'all know this. I tries to be open-minded. But why, if she over there helping, if she called, why, if they say, can we come over there and hide the 2 babies? So she was gonna take the babies over there. Why did she say he asked if he come over there and hide? She say no. Maybe because she don't know what's going on if they after him. He don't know if they after her because they in a duplex. Next time when we come back for part 2, I'll make sure I have a picture of the where the incident happened, the duplex, right? That's just so strange to hear her say they asked could they come hide, and he said no. But at the same time, we just heard Omar on the body cam footage say he didn't want his kids over there. He don't know if they involved. I guess everybody right now don't know what's going on. So I get it. Let me not be so judgmental and harsh, because she said, let me get the kids. But as far as him coming over there, the boyfriend coming to the house next door in a duplex coming over there to hide, shit, she don't know if the people is after the boyfriend. And she got her granddaughter in the next house. Makes sense. It makes sense. But at first it sounded crazy. At first it sounded like, what?
Yeah, at 47. Is that right?
Yes.
So at any point in time before you heard those 3 shots, did you hear any argument between anyone?
No.
Did you hear any discussion outside between anyone?
No.
Did you hear any voices at all before the shots?
No.
Exactly. She didn't know who the shooter was after. The kids wasn't the target, though. Absolutely.
And do you know, or have you ever seen if there were video cameras at 47 Keyante where Maya lived?
No.
So to your knowledge, there just aren't any?
No, ma'am.
And you said that you called the police. Did you stay on scene until police arrived?
I did.
And did you speak with them when they arrived?
I did.
Did your daughter stay as well?
Yes.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Atkinson. I'm sorry for your loss, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You sure got any questions for this witness?
You said that you had no information that this black car you saw going by was involved in the shooting, correct?
Correct.
You had no information that the black car wasn't involved in the shooting.
Correct.
So it could have been, or it couldn't have been. There's just nothing that, all you did was see it drive by, right?
Correct.
Right after the shooting.
Correct.
You don't know if it was involved or not.
No.
No other question.
Anything else, Mr.
Baby, he driving home that reasonable doubt.
Ms. Atkinson, it's not unusual for cars to drive up and down Keyante Street, is that correct?
No, it isn't.
I mean, it's an open street, right?
And it's pretty busy at times.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Ma'am, thank you. You're excused.
Thank you.
I am not gonna lie. I thought that the defense attorney was gonna stand up and drive home that point again. So far in this case, just from what we're watching, I think the prosecution doing a good job. I think the defense is doing a good job. You know, with the opening statements, the prosecution did a good job of laying out the case, talking about the fact that they don't have an eyewitness, but this is what the evidence we do have. We know we got somebody who gonna excuse me, a witness that's going to be testifying, who may be you know, we recognize that he has something to gain, you know, the alleged getaway driver, right? He laid out everything, the prosecution. The defense came right behind him and laid out the fact about the reasonable doubt. Kept it short, kept it simple. Now we 3 witnesses in, and the prosecution is still doing a good job with the witnesses. And the defense is still doing a good job to do, because right now, all the defense is going to be doing is talking about reasonable doubt. That's it. You know? So I don't know. Let's continue. And I want to know about who everybody is in the house.
The people's next witness is Erica Shanice Atkinson, who is available on Zoom.
Okay, let's see if we can get that done.
So this is the lady who just dropped down. This is her daughter, the actual resident of the duplex next door.
Good morning, young lady. I'm Judge Quist. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you're loud and clear as well. It's been stipulated that you can testify by Zoom in this matter, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to swear you in as a witness at this time. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Beth.
Why she on Zoom?
Good morning, Ms. Atkinson. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Atkinson, my name is Bonnie Pravat. I'm one of the assistant prosecutors, and I'm just going to ask you some questions at this time, okay? And please just make sure to voice your answers just out loud, so we can make sure that everything is being recorded, okay? Thank you. And can you please tell us your name and also spell it for the record?
My name is Erica Atkinson, ERICKA
Erica Jr.
And what is your middle name?
Shanice, I'm sorry. SHANICE.
Thank you. Ms. Atkinson, back on December 26th of 2022, were you living in the Grand Rapids area?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you living at?
At 43 Keyante.
How long had you lived there?
For about 2.5 years.
Who did you live there with?
Myself and my daughter.
Did you know the neighbors at 47 Canton?
Yeah, I didn't know them because they were my neighbors.
And who lived there?
Maya, her children, and Omar.
And were you home on the day of this incident on December 26th of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, can you please describe for us what you remember happening before the police arrived that night?
Me, my mom, and my friend, we were sitting in my living room. While we were sitting there, we hear shots go off. We hear about 3 or 4 shots go off.
And you said how many did you hear?
About 3 or 4. I believe it was 3.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so after I hit the shot, I immediately get down on the ground. I look down because it seemed to be really close. Right after the shots, I thought about my daughter. I run upstairs. I go check on her. She was so sweet. And that's when I looked out the window. I seen a car riding past. And there was a truck up the street. I seen the truck. After I look out my window, and I go back downstairs, I open up my front door, I look outside, I don't see anyone. I look over at Maya's in that door and I see a bullet hole in the door. And I immediately tell my mom, like, there's a bullet hole in the door. She's like, check on him. I get to knocking on their door, there was no answer. And so I got to knocking harder, and then I hear kids crying. And Omar answered me from upstairs. He asked who was it. I told him that it was the neighbor, and I asked if everything's okay. And that's when he told me to call the police. So I just immediately called the police. Omar comes down to the door and asks, can we get the kids? We get the kids out the house, over to my house. He was hysterical and in shock at the time. He was just like really panicky, asking for help, asking to take her to the hospital. So we look in through their door, we see her on the ground, and that's when I immediately run back out, go to my house, try to explain to the police the best way I could what was happening, and I called one of her friends that I knew her and her family, so I had to be notified of it.
Okay, I'm gonna take you back and just unpack that a little bit, okay? So
Let me pause it, okay? Y'all know I am very skeptical. I'm very skeptical, and I don't trust. I got trust issues, okay? Now, and I also got the mind sometimes of a 90-year-old woman. Let me tell you why I say that. And I got suspicions of this girl here. This is the neighbor at the duplex. I got suspicions of her as soon as she came on Zoom, and I wants to know, why is she on Zoom? Why did she request to be on Zoom? Why is she not at that courthouse? Why the courthouse let her be on Zoom? She looked perfectly well. She ain't laid up in no hospital bed. She ain't sitting nowhere with no cast on. Why is she not in that courthouse? And then another thing is, I as soon as I saw her arm with them tattoos, and I know this is so, I am stereotyping, okay? I am stereotyping, and I'm trying to be open-minded. But as soon as I saw them tattoos on her arm and everything, I said, oh, Lord, she probably a gangbanger or something. See, that's what happened. That's why I tell people, when you get them tattoos and stuff like that, hey, I'm not against tattoos, but you will get the mistaken of being stereotyped. As soon as I saw them tattoos on her arm, I was like, she might run with a rough crowd. This is not a funny situation, but I'm just saying, when I saw them tattoos, okay, so I'm not I like when I'm around the like-minded, not that we have to always agree, but of the same peers, okay? I'm not the only one who said, ooh, tattoos on a woman, no good sign. But we know nowadays that's not really the case. But it still is a stigma. That's the word, a stigma. And so y'all say that maybe she moved out of the area. Maybe she moved out the area. We gonna see. You know, I don't know why. I don't know why I got this funny feeling, and that's why I need to stop that. But it's just my human nature. It's just real strange because that duplex, you know, I'm still listening to see if maybe it was a mistaken identity, the wrong house. I don't know.
When you said that you heard
Let's
3 to
see.
4
Let's continue.
shots, you said they sounded close, correct? And what do you mean by that? Where did it sound like they were coming from? Could you tell?
Outside. It was definitely coming from outside. It sounded like it was right in front of my window. Like they had to be right in front of my window. It was so loud.
Before you heard those shots, did you see anyone approach your house?
No, I didn't see anyone. We were watching TV, listening to music at the time, so I wasn't really looking outside my windows or anything like that. I just heard the shots go off.
And so you did not see anyone approach Maya's house, correct?
No, I didn't.
Before the shots
I
went
noticed
off,
that. I
did you hear
know.
anything unusual? Like an argument, a discussion, anything?
No, there was no argument. There was no ruckus or anything like that next door. So.
And you said after the shots went off, at some point you looked out your window. Was that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And so was that after you had checked on your daughter?
Yeah.
So you did not look out the window immediately, is that correct?
No, I didn't.
So how much time would you say passed between the time you heard the shots and the time you looked out the window?
Not even 60 seconds. It's not even 60 seconds. Immediately after the shots went off, I dug down and I thought about my daughter. I run upstairs immediately and picked up my light. She was still sleeping, and so I went straight to the window.
So you said about 60 seconds after the shots went off, you looked out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Was that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that the upstairs window, downstairs?
Upstairs.
And so immediately after the shots went off, you did not see anyone, correct?
No.
At any point in time, did you see anyone on foot in the area, walking or running?
No, ma'am.
You mentioned that after that 60 seconds had passed, and then you looked out the window, you saw a car pass by?
Yeah, it was a dark colored vehicle.
Do you remember anything else about it?
I just remember there was one person in the car, clearly it was the driver, and it just, what made me think about it was because he was riding really slow. They were riding really slow, and all you could see was the lights from the dashboard of the car, and you could see the driver's chest area, and they were looking at our house, and they were driving really slow, but they were looking towards our house, and that's what I was.
And that was about.
Okay, so on that point, they might have heard the doggone gunshots. Let me let this woman finish testifying. You know, but they might have heard the gunshots. If it happened that quick, they probably heard the gunshots too and saying, dang, what happened down there? Let's continue.
A minute after the gunshots went off.
Yeah.
And did you ever see that person, the driver? Do you know who that was?
No, ma'am.
Did you see anything else unusual about that vehicle?
No. Like I told the police that night, as the car was driving past, I did notice that it was a truck, I can't remember the color, or it was an SUV, it was an SUV up the street, and once that car turned left on Ionia, I noticed that truck back up and followed behind the car.
And do you know if they were related to each other in any way?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
You just don't know anything else about those vehicles?
She showed noticed a lot.
Yeah.
And was the street open to the public at that time?
Yes.
And was it normal for cars to drive up and down Canton?
Yeah.
Did you notice anything about the driver? You said a truck. What do you mean by truck? What type of truck?
Like an SUV truck.
And did you see the driver or anything like that?
No.
And so you just have no idea who was driving those cars or what they were doing?
No, ma'am.
You said that you heard 3 to 4 shots, correct?
Yes.
Can you please describe for the jury, were those shots close in time? Were they spread out? Can you please describe that to the best of your memory?
They were one right after the other, one right after the other. So three or 4 shots that I can remember. It was 3, but they were right after each other. Like, right after each other. 3 of them. That was it.
Did they sound different, or did they sound like they were from the same gun, or what?
Yeah, it sounded like it was from the same gun. It didn't sound like it was multiple guns or anything.
I do not like the fact that she on this Zoom. I'm not gonna lie. It's really bothering me. This is an important case.
Ms. Atkinson, did you note any damage to your house or in front of your house?
Like some things that I had on my porch were hit. You could tell like bullets went through them, like my shovel and things like that on my balcony. But that was it, I believe, that I can remember. I don't think anything else was damaged.
Okay. And then, just to be clear, before or after the shots, you did not see anyone on foot?
Yeah, she better be in Alaska.
In the area?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, and you're here testifying on Zoom today. You now live out of state?
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with this incident?
Somewhat. I did have a few people come to my house and like.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna let her make it. I'm gonna let her make it.
Looking for Omar, they were looking for people, and that my house was gonna get shot up and things like that. So yeah, I mean I've been playing the rules with that kind of rush on things.
I just put a rush on it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Atkinson. I have no other questions right now.
All right, Mr. Krukoff, do you have any questions for Ms. Atkinson?
After this incident, there were people looking for Omar?
Yes, I mean, that's what I was told. I'm not sure.
I have no other questions.
Anything else, Ms. Brevett?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Atkinson, thank you very much for appearing today. We're all set.
Wait. Okay. The attorney asked one question. I think he said, do you have any reason to believe they was looking for Omar? But let me make sure that's the question she had. He had, the defense attorney.
You did not see anyone on foot, either walking or running in the area?
No.
Yeah, and you're here testifying on Zoom today. You now live out of state?
Yeah.
She live out of state, y'all.
With this incident?
Somewhat. I did have a few people come to my house and like.
Okay, she live out of state, y'all.
They were looking for Omar, they were looking for people, and that my house was gonna get shot up and things like that. So yeah, I mean I've been playing the rules with that kind of rush on things.
I just put a rush on it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Atkinson. I have no other questions right now.
All right, Mr. Krukoff, do you have any questions for Ms. Atkinson?
After this incident, there were people looking for Omar?
Yes, I mean, that's what I was told. I'm not sure.
I have no other questions.
Anything else, Ms. Brevett?
No.
Boom. You know what I'm saying? He's sitting up there. All he got to do is, that's so brilliant. Simple is best. All I got to do is prove. All I got to do is put reasonable doubt. That's what you saying, Angel Fool, right? That's exactly what I'm saying. He real good at this reasonable doubt deal, right? Because that's all he got to do, which is a good thing. You know, the sign of justice ain't always that. It is the fact that the person got to be proven guilty. We know innocent people get caught up. You know, if I was a renter, I would have done the same thing, right? Move. I think they let you out your lease and stuff when stuff like that happened. Okay, that was an interesting, very interesting testimony. Let's see.
Oh, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Atkinson, thank you very much.
We'll do one more witness, and then I'll set up the live, and I'll schedule it tomorrow for 1 p.m. the same time as today. Well, maybe about 12:30, a little bit earlier.
All right, next witness, please.
There are the people called Jennifer Stradalak.
All right, good morning. Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Now, who this lady is?
Go ahead, Mr. Baker.
Thank you. As you get situated, could you state and spell your first and last names, please?
Jennifer Stradalak, Jennifer, Stradalak, Stratelak.
And can you tell the jury your occupation, please?
I'm a crime scene technician with Grand Rapids Police Department.
How long have you been a crime scene?
CSR.
Since 2016.
Is there training, extensive training associated with that occupation?
Yes, there is.
And you've successfully completed all of that training to do this job?
Yes, I did.
And how long have you worked for Grand Rapids? That entire time?
Yes. And then an internship a year before.
Where was that?
Also at Grand Rapids Police Department.
Okay. Could you, for those that might not have ever seen crime dramas on TV, and that's probably not accurate, can you briefly describe to the jury what a crime scene technician's role is at an incident?
Yep. So I respond to crime scenes where
Y'all literally be in my head, right? Because I was like, damn, I ain't never heard that name before, Stradalak. You know what I'm saying? I literally thought that to myself. Get out of my head,
collect
y'all.
and preserve evidence.
Direct your attention back to December 26th of 2022. Did you get dispatched to locations similar to the way a law enforcement officer would?
Yes, I do.
Were you dispatched to the area of 47 Canton Street?
Yes, I was.
That is in the city of Grand Rapids, correct?
Yes.
And do you recall on that evening what time approximately you would have received that dispatch call?
Shortly after 10 p.m.
And did you head to that location immediately?
Yes, I did.
Describe, if you would, what was going on at the scene upon your arrival.
Once I arrived on scene, I got briefed by officers, and then I searched for evidence, talked to the detectives, and then I started processing the scene, is what we call it. So photographing, marking evidence, photographing some more. It was pretty snowy, so you got to search for evidence and use different things to be able to search for that evidence.
Was it snowing that at the time when you arrived, or had it snowed?
It had snowed.
Describe there's like a pristine area of snow, and then there's a tracked up area of snow. How would you describe the snow in front of the building that contains 47 and 43 Canton?
There was a lot of disturbance in the snow.
As part of your role as a crime scene technician, if you saw clear, distinct tracks leading to or from the house, would you have taken note of that?
Yes, I would have.
What would you have done with that?
I would have photographed it, and then I would have used a scale to be able to show the footwear impression in the snow.
And so photographing that, taking a measurement so that it would have some evidentiary value?
Yes.
So you didn't observe any identifiable tracks that were distinct leading to or from the residence?
That's correct.
Oh, like foot tracks.
So I'm going to take you through your activities as a crime scene
I zoned out on her.
And I'll start with did you process the threshold, the landing leading up to the front door of 47 Keyante?
Yes, I photographed it.
Photographed it, and beyond that, what did you do What did you observe? And if you did see anything of evidentiary value, I'd like you to outline that for the jury.
We noticed when we were searching that there were some defects in the wall and the door, and we marked those with triangles and scales.
When you say defect, how would you characterize that in layman's terms?
Just a marking. It could be a possible bullet hole. It could be just something that we describe as something off.
All right, I'm showing exhibit 14 on the screen. Do you recognize that?
Yes, that is the front of the residence.
And with the laser pointer, you have there.
Okay, so this might be some of y'all first time seeing the house,
said,
the duplex, where it happened there.
Is there an example of marking?
Yep, so right here, you can see that little triangle, it's yellow. So we put that on, my partner and I.
Okay, so that triangle that you had on the door to 47 Keyante, the left door in exhibit 14.
Yes.
That's an evidence marker?
It's a triangle, yes.
Okay. And so I'm going to show you next is a close-up of that image.
So what the other triangles in the front yard for if she didn't see no tracks?
And can you tell the jury what we're looking at here?
That is a close-up of that triangle A of the door.
And you describe that as a defect?
Yeah, it's a perforation, so it actually goes through the door.
If it does, let's say that is a bullet impact. If it doesn't go all the way through, it's not called a perforation. What would it be called?
A penetration.
So perforation means all the way through.
Yes.
Okay. So on the other side of the door, there would be a corresponding exit to the door.
That's correct.
They literally, one moment. They literally put their gun right up to the peephole. Cold-blooded. Cold-blooded. That maybe don't want to peep through my peephole.
Showing exhibit 18. I don't know if there's a way to zoom. Stop it there. So you have the peephole in the center there of exhibit 18. What is that marking over to the left of that?
So this is a scale right here that I put on, and it says A exit.
So on the other side of that would be A entrance or the yellow triangle?
Yep. Yes.
How did you determine whether the bullet went from outside in or inside out?
We used a probe, and we also were able to determine it based on what the interior and the exterior looked like.
So what did this appear to you? Was the bullet fired from inside out or outside in?
Outside to inside.
And is that a metal door?
Yes.
So going back to the
Pause real quick, right? This is the last witness for today. Then we're gonna come back tomorrow, but we're gonna do the cross-examination and everything before we end today. But yeah, I see when you say no peeping. And you know what else I do horribly is that, the peephole, really truthfully, I just was saying, well, I ain't gonna never do that again. But quite honestly, the peephole at this apartment, I'm a little bit too short for it. So what happens is when I say, who is it? My worst habit in the world. A lot of time Rock be barking. Y'all already know he just be barking. A lot of time when I can't hear who it is and I can't see out the peephole, I just open the door. I act like I live in 1950 something. You know what I'm saying? Like with the Cleavers or something. Leave It to Beaver and all them type of people. I be really tripping. Like I really be tripping about my safety, my personal safety in here. It's times when I wake up the next day and both locks be unlocked. Just crazy. Okay, Angel say, well, me say that was calculated. Lady Steph say, no people get your camera. I am. That was calculated. You saying because they put the gun right up to the peephole, right? And see, when you said that was calculated, that's why I put up that count one. That count one was talking about whether it was murder in the first degree, meaning premeditated. You know, if somebody putting it up to the peeper and don't even open the door, they can't claim defense. Angel say that was a thing at one time a few years ago. People were randomly ringing bells and shooting through the peephole. It happened here in Philly. Girl, I know you lying. I'm gonna pick up some safer habits. Okay, I really, I'm gonna start being safer than what I am.
Front again.
It's got to stop.
So how many letter markings do you have?
We had one triangle and we had a few scales.
So now
I'm sorry, we had two triangles and a
Thank
couple
you.
scales.
I'm gonna move to marker or triangle B.
Girl, I'd be too comfortable.
So when you exhibit
And I live in the hood.
What are we looking at here?
So we're looking at that front porch again, and then we're looking at this blue shovel with that triangle B right here.
And that's in front, that's actually in front of 43 Canton store, correct, to the right of it?
That's correct.
Is that a perforation through the shovels?
Yes, that's correct. It's a perforation. It goes through.
Was there any defect in the brick wall behind it?
There was a possible defect though. It hits another shovel that's behind it, and then a defect to the wall.
Did you find a projectile behind there?
We did not.
Same question as it relates to triangle A through the house. Was there a projectile? Was there any projectile recovered from inside the house?
No.
Was there any through the perforation of triangle A through the door? Was there any corresponding defect on any of the walls inside the residence 47 Canton?
No, there was not.
Did you find any projectiles at all during your search and processing of the scene?
No, we did not.
Now I'm going to move to C. Showing you exhibit 9. We'll talk about C and D. Can you show the jury where C and D are in terms of markings?
Yes, we have a scale right here, which is C, and then we have a scale right here on that door frame, and that's scale D.
So for the record,
I didn't even think about that part, Angel.
You indicated scale C.
I can see it from
was out
my
the,
phone away from the house.
Metal threshold at the base of the door,
In the wood, yes.
near the center of the base of the door.
Yes.
And then sticker D, you had indicated in the door, basically the door jamb slightly below the door handle.
Yes.
Okay. Any projectiles, were those perforations or penetrations?
This one right here, that's D, was a perforation, and then this right here was a defect.
A defect?
Yes.
Okay. Any projectiles recovered from either of those locations?
No.
I don't know why, but kids got witness to be boring the shit out of me. I don't know why.
Is there a corresponding exit through the wall or through the door?
Yes, there is.
And was there a search inside the house for a logical end of the trajectory of that, if it was a projectile?
Yes. Yes, we did search.
Did you find anything?
We did not.
And for sticker C, a penetration into the metal or into the wood?
It was a defect.
A defect.
Yes, defect.
So can you say with certain, do you know based on your crime scene processing when any of those defects were made?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Is there any way to determine when those defects were made?
Wait, no. We can kind of look if they're older or younger, but we can't say an actual timestamp on when those are made.
Okay. And can we zoom in on, or we have another photo of C. Okay, and this is on the threshold at the base of the door, correct?
Correct.
And using the laser pointer, there seems to be like a metallic object in the wood near the
Referring to this?
that area right there, the center top third of exhibit 10.
Mhm.
Do you know if that had the appearance of a bullet fragment or?
It potentially looks like it from here, but once we searched, it was not.
Okay. And you don't know when that defect was made?
No, I did not.
You just processed it as potential evidence?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Can we show a close-up of sticker D?
Damn, this looks like more than 3 shots.
This is scale D.
Oh, it's like
here,
way
and
more
then
than
we
3
can see
shots.
this perforation, so it goes through. This is from the outside, or this is the exterior of that door frame.
And there is a corresponding interior defect?
Yeah, exit, yes.
Okay. For the perforations, are there probe rods that you would employ as a crime scene technician to show the path through the object?
Yes, we insert probes if we're able to in perforations.
Were those done in this case?
Yes.
So starting with perforation, triangle A.
That's how they figure out the gun and the bullets and all that kind of stuff.
Show the jury what we're looking at here.
This is again that perforation from the door, triangle A, you can see, and this is a probe, what we call a probe that I have inserted.
And what's the purpose of that?
To show a possible path
Like a
of
film.
the bullet.
It's difficult to tell in this photograph, so I'll use this as the door that triangle A is on, and you can use my pen. So if this is the door, can you show the jury the orientation of that probe? And by orientation, I mean, is it upward, downward, is it horizontal, and then is it square, or does it orient left or right? Does that make sense?
It's like it was straight in to me, didn't it?
So for A, if you can see right there, it is slightly like this. So it's pointing in a southeast, which would be over here, to northwest direction.
Fairly parallel to the ground?
Yes, slightly up,
Which end was slightly up?
going up. It was slightly, so it was going in an upward direction.
Okay,
But
and then-
from southeast to northwest.
Okay, all right, thank you. And I
Well,
guess
they
while I'm
able to
standing
see, tell
here,
everything
we can
now.
Bring up the exhibit for the probe on perforation D. And same door, same probe, same question.
Okay.
Ms. Stradler.
Okay, so scale D, which is on that door frame right
And this
there.
still a prosecution, right? Not the not the
It's gonna
defense,
be
right?
that southeast to northwest direction, as you can kind of see. It's actually going to go downward a little bit.
You saw that? All right. Thank you very much. Well, I'm here. Also, I'm going to publish exhibit 13.
Okay, thank you, women. I'm getting confused. Oh, this is the defense attorney?
Was a crime scene sketch done in relation to this case?
Yes, it was.
So 13 is both published, published on the wall and also on the physical image behind the witness stand. Can you walk the jury through this crime scene?
Now the defense, the prosecution got a female and a male because a male did the opening statement for the prosecution, and then with the witnesses, it's been a female leading the question. As far as what we saw from the defense attorney, I've only seen one attorney actually working the trial so far, and he was a male. You know, right now I'm trying to see if this is the fence. I'm trying to see if that what they trying to get at. Whoever this is, he finna make his point. He finna make his point. I think that might be the prosecution still. I'm thinking that was that man is asking questions now and gave her the pen to make the marking. It looked like the same attorney that was doing the opening statement. You know, I'm trying to see where they going with the direction and the way it was angled. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see what they trying to get to. Let's see if he gonna tell us.
Yes, I can. So this is a sketch or diagram that my partner completed based on the rough sketch of the scene. You can see his initials here, the north arrow, the legend. So you can see right here, 1 through 3, actually right here. It says casings. And then we see marker 4, which is right here, marker 4. And then we have these triangles right here, which we have put right here.
How in the heck did the cases get way past the sidewalk? How did that happen?
Did you search for shell casings?
Yes, my partner and I did.
Okay. How thoroughly did you search for shell casings?
Very thoroughly.
Tell the jury where you searched and if you found any, where you found those.
We searched the porch, the front porch, the sidewalk that was snow covered, the front lawn that was snow covered, the roadway in front. We used metal detectors and lights to be able to try and find these casings.
Why did you have to use metal detectors?
Sometimes when casings come out of guns, they're pretty hot. And if they go on snow, it can actually melt. So we're not able to see it on top of the snow. Sometimes it's all the way at the bottom or it's in the snow somewhere. So we need a metal detector to aid in our search.
And were shell casings found in this case?
Yes, we did locate them.
And where were they located?
They were just south of that sidewalk in front of the porch.
All right. And on exhibit 13 here, does that show the location of the 3 shell casings?
Hey, no bullet cases fly that far back.
Center and with square markers 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, that's
square
correct.
markers on as they are on the exhibit.
Yes.
In at the scene, what do the markers look like?
The little tent cards that we use.
Showing. You can zoom in on the snow in front. When you talked about the snow being tracked up, is that that's an accurate portrayal of the snow?
Yes.
And the 3, they look like cones in the bottom right?
Yep, so in this case, we use yellow cones as our markers.
So let me ask you this. You processed and identified 4 defects.
Yes.
You found 3 shell casings.
That's correct.
How thoroughly did you look for other shell casings?
Okay, just one defense attorney.
For those.
And you only found 3 in the entire scene?
Yes.
There's another image of shell cones. Exhibit 15 is on the board here, and it appears. Are we looking east toward Division there?
Yes, we are.
And markers 1, 2, and 3 are visible in this image?
Yes, right here.
Is there any relevance to the numbering? Can you tell from the crime scene which one was deposited first?
No, we cannot.
So as you see them, you mark them?
Yes.
Sidebar.
Okay, here go the cross-examination defense. I think he about his chair. You see, he cut them dreads off. That's how he was looking when he got arrested. Oh, there go them tattoos in his face. That don't make him look no more innocent, huh?
Go ahead, Mr. Faber.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, you knew that, Winter? I didn't know
Mr.
that.
We're talking about shell casings.
Yes, casings.
For the non-firearm savvy jurors or people in the court, without going into too technical a detail, are you, based on your training and experience, are you familiar with the components of a bullet?
Yes.
What about the mechanism, the firing process, which would deposit a shell casing at a scene?
Yes.
Okay. What is a shell casing?
A casing is what's left behind after a bullet goes out of a gun.
And do all pistols eject shell casings?
No.
Do you know the difference between a revolver and a semi-automatic?
Yes, I do.
Do revolvers automatically eject the brass shell casing?
No, they do not.
How would one remove shell casings from a revolver?
They would have to manually take the cylinder out and then take the casings out of it, or cartridges that are still left behind.
And how are shell casings ejected from a semi-automatic pistol?
Once it's gone, it automatically cycles, and the casing actually gets ejected out of the gun.
And that happens automatically?
Yes, it does.
Can you get hit
So
by
that's
one
the
of them
portion
cases
the bullet-
if you
that's
shoot
the
a gun?
portion of the entire projectile, minus the bullet that travels through the barrel.
Yes.
If this was Judge Boyd, she'd be talking about next question.
An exhibit that is graphic.
She don't give them no chance to think.
In the court. If you do not wish to see the victim in this case, you can leave the court.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put up a banner if they're gonna show a body. Trigger warning. I'm gonna have to go ahead and cover it because of
Exhibit 17.
YouTube.
There's a marker, a Cohen marker for our piece of evidence, number 4. What does that Cohen represent?
Yeah, it's showing the body, so I have to keep it covered, y'all.
Cell phone that was next to the deceased?
Yes.
Was that taken into evidence?
Yes, it was.
Were there any other evidence markers or any other pieces of evidence taken?
Damn, y'all look like she came on her shoes.
Yes, it was.
Describe what those were.
Damn.
We had a couple of cell phones the detectives located and asked to be photographed, documented, and collected.
Yeah, so sad.
Also a tablet that we located.
Look like she has some
and
pajama
documented.
pants on, y'all.
So those electronic devices, were those taken because they had apparent evidentiary value, or the detectives told you to take those?
The detectives asked, and so we collected them.
Did you find any weapons, any ammunition, any shell casings, anything firearm related inside the residence?
I did not.
Did anybody else, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, no.
Is there any signs of a weapon being fired indoors?
No.
As it relates to the shell casings, in the record, it's like I'm showing defense counsel. Suppose exhibit 16 might have already been admitted.
Exhibit 16 has been admitted.
Mr. Hyla, can you open up the envelope, exhibit 16? And what is contained in that envelope?
The casings.
Let's see. The
Damn.
3 FC 9mm Luger casings that located.
Why she
at
looked at that
markers
last one
1,
right
2,
there?
and 3.
She couldn't find it. It was
And
small or
So
something.
they're each an individual smaller envelope?
Yes, they are. I show the jury.
I'll get to that in a second. What caliber are all 3 of those shell casings?
9mm.
9mm?
9mm, yes.
And where would that be indicated on the shell casing?
It's on the head stamp of the casing.
And could you just pick one of the 3 and take it out of the envelope? I don't want to get them mixed up. And then if you could, since you have your glove on, if you could maybe walk in front of the jury slowly so that they can see this head stamp marking on the back of the shell casing.
Any objection, Mr. Kirkland? No. Go ahead.
That's different. Get the jury involved, make them have to lean up, read, look at it real closely. That was a good move. I can just imagine each the people that's on the jurors on the back row leaning all across the other jurors to see. It's getting them involved, you know.
For the record, what does can you read all of the information that's on the back of that round?
Yep, the head stamp says FC 9mm Luger.
And so 9mm Luger would be the caliber?
Yes.
And FC, what is that?
Possibly a brand,
Federal cartridge, perhaps?
perhaps.
Did you do anything in terms of latent print processing to see if there were any identifiable fingerprints on the shell casings?
Yes, I did.
How did you do that?
I process them with super glue fuming. And then it becomes super glue when it's mixed in with water and it's heated, actually becomes a vapor. You can stick to fingerprints on surfaces. And that's the process I used.
And you've been trained and successfully passed all the training for latent print processing?
Yes.
And you used all of those procedures in this case?
Yes.
Did you find any fingerprint impressions that would have been useful for processing?
It was negative for the imprints.
How common would it be to get fingerprints off of a fired shell casing?
Not very common.
Why is that?
Many reasons. I'm not a firearm examiner, so I don't want to say.
Fair. Was there any did you do any fingerprinting, or did another crime scene technician do any fingerprint processing of the door?
I believe my partner did.
Do you know the results of that?
No, I do not.
Dang, y'all don't read the report?
One moment.
I already got the next trial picked out, and it's gonna be a tough one. That's why I started with this one. The next one is super duper tough.
Thank you very much, Mr. I have no further questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Faber. Mr. Kirkhoff, any questions?
The bullet hole that was found in the shovel was situated in front of 23 Keyante, correct?
Correct.
And that was
I'm sorry, did you say 23?
I'm sorry, 43, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. 43 is correct, not
Yes.
23.
And it was, that's in a different direction than the other 3 holes that were found, correct?
Possibly we weren't able to put a probe through it.
Now, your report from that date states that you collected GSR on the hands of Omar Dan on that date. You remember that?
I do.
Oh,
What
wow.
does GSR stand for?
Gunshot residue.
That's the boyfriend, Omar. But how the heck maybe off the body or something?
In relation to gunshot residue, whose direction was it to take gunshot residue off Omar Danner?
It was at the request of MCT detectives.
Is that common in shootings?
Why do judges look
Yes,
like
it is.
that?
No further questions.
Anything else for this witness, Mr. Kirkhoff? No, Your Honor. Your excuse, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm gonna put these away.
What?
I'm gonna put these away, or?
Talk to the prosecutor, not going to for the evidence.
If you could please put them on. Thank you very much.
We have one more short witness before our new break.
I believe so.
We're gonna pause at that break. All right, so we have come to the end of this first day of trial and jury. Okay, here on Seymour Lane. This is our first trial watch, our first official trial watch over here. And it seems to be a good one. You know, it's a lot of different moving parts to this. In my mind, I'm questioning a couple of different things, right? We got a case with no motive. And that's per the prosecution. The prosecution in the opening statement said at the end of this trial, we may not have a motive, but they don't need one. We got a residence that makes the question come to my mind of did they target the right house or was it the wrong house? And of course they got another. Thank you, Angel Food. Thank you all for sticking and stand, you know, and enjoying this type of content with me. You know, I think this is one, you know, you have to remember that all the defense got to do is provide reasonable doubt. That's it. So it's gonna be real interesting tomorrow to see what happens. I know I can tell y'all right now. I know the boyfriend he testifies. Couple of different people. It should be good tomorrow. Okay, so I will schedule the live for around 1 p.m. the same time tomorrow, and we just roll through it, doing it that way, the same way like today. We'll be done with the case by the end of the week. Of course, I'll be doing other commentary in the evening time. And I might sneak in on or something else with the I think I'm gonna just do this case watch and then like next week do the parole and pardons while I get another case ready. Okay, so thank y'all so much. If you missed the beginning of it, please do the replay and go ahead and hit the bell and come back tomorrow. I am Demetria Lit all day. So proprietor of Seymour Lane, the lane where we see everything. Bye y'all. Y'all have a good evening.